Conspiracies, government cover-ups, Earth mysteries, monster cryptids.
Hospital Porter's Pride and Dignity. Stop the New World Order. Welcome to HPANWO TV and welcome to this, the 96th reply to comments video. This is the video in which I get to reply to your comments. Now, the reason I make these videos is because I feel obliged to reply to people's comments, because people take the time to tell me what they think about the video, and they often leave very long, heartfelt, interesting comments, asking me direct questions. And on my very popular channel, I get quite a lot of them. So, along with my obligation to reply, I believe, is the impracticality of doing so by text. So, I do these comments reply videos every so often instead. Now, you may think to yourself, well, hang on a minute, Ben. A 9-hour video is a silly way to reply, because I only left you one comment. I'm going to watch a 9-hour video of you rambling on just to hear your reply to my comments. Well, you don't have to watch it, a 9-hour video, because on the video I make, on the comment I'm replying to, I will leave a timestamp reply underneath telling you when in the next reply to comments video I will be replying to your video, to within the nearest hour. That's good, isn't it? 1 hour, it's not so bad, is it? And what's more, my videos, my reply to comments videos are not 9 hours any longer. They become much shorter in recent years because I do them more often. I try to do them every fortnight or so, maybe 3 weeks, depending on the number of uploads. So that's why you don't have to worry about that. Now, also another reason I do these reply to comments videos, I enjoy doing them. I think some of them are very good, and what's more, you viewers enjoy them. They get very high viewing figures, and I know some of you watch them all the way through. So yeah, I'll definitely do that. So what I'll do is I'll go to the last comment left after I replied on the last comments reply video, and I got on reply comments 95, the previous one. And I'll just get the timestamp reply template here. Coda. Oh, Coda. We open today with Coda, of course. Reply to comments 95. Oh, jubbly joyfuls. Galt Hatley foliage, please. Gratifoles. Yes. That means the gold tinfoil hat is going to Coda, yes. Coda actually, by the way, is creating something. He's writing the new edition of the Oxford Unwinese Dictionary. So, for example, we got a few. He sent me a few entries already, which includes. So here we have a few here. Freezy most tickly tarkload. That means Antarctica. Mitchy eggloader is Dr. Edgar Mitchell, and Corbly Jerrymole is Jeremy Corbell. That's right, because I thought that could just as easily mean Jeremy Corbyn, but I'll know now that Corbly Jerrymole means Jeremy Corbell. I don't know what Jeremy Corbyn is in Unwinese. Yeah, good old Coda. Yes. Oh, and Coda and I, well, I won't say anything because it's private between us. But Coda and I recently have been reunited with an old friend, haven't we, Coda? And Mark B says underneath, you took the words right out of my head. Well, I don't think anyone could take words out of Coda, because he's the only fluent Unwinese speaker on my channel. And Coda says to Mark B, a wisely modit speak it. Deep Thorcus are doubly most. Oh yes. Nice one. And on the same video we have Gary Robinson saying, good evening, mate. Pride and dignity. Pride and dignity to you, Gary. And we have Hugo Roon on the same video. Thanks, Ben. Looking forward to this. Great stuff, Hugo. Spliffs in the tin. And Jam Noise 72 says underneath, hi, happy 420, Hugo. Hope that tin's full. And Hugo says, thank you, certainly is. And Hugo says, thank you. Of course it's full as well, yes. Same video, Mark B. Watching Fallout, so we'll listen to this tomorrow whilst working on my car. Always love these. Thank you very much, Mark B. Hope the car goes all right. And Mark says here again on reply to comments 95. When I was an atheist, I never felt there was anything missing in my life. Yeah, a lot of atheists say that. I mean, I don't think most people are atheists are actually quite happy. Have I found, definitely. Fair enough, Mark, yeah. And he carries on. When people say religion is to fill that void, I can only say for me that, believe it or not, I am lucky to never have felt anything is missing. I must be lucky, I guess. I have all I need. Cars, women, alcohol, and the occasional smoke. My needs are simple. Oh, fair enough, mate. Yes. My needs are simple too. I only have one of those four things, but you can guess which one it is. But still, I consider myself a lucky man, as the song goes, with fire in my hand. Yeah, I mean, atheists. You see, I mean, this is the point. I think atheists tend to contradict themselves a bit, actually, when they say that religion fills the void. I mean, it's very MBA-ish to say that, and they are very atheists tend to be very MBA people, even more so than the general skeptics, and this is why I distinguish them as I distinguish atheo-skeptics from atheists and skeptics. It's a separate category, but they generally are quite. They seem to be quite cheerful people. They believe that what some people get from religion they get from other things, and the British Humanist Association talks a lot about that. Yeah. So then it's a contradiction because they come along and say, well, religion, it was what the sigh of an oppressed creature, as Karl Marx said, the heart was it the soul of a soulless world, the opium of the people. That's kind of a contradiction and very MBA. Because either they're contradicting themselves, or they are admitting, well, I don't need that because I'm superior, man. MBA, that sort of thing. So let's continue. And we have Mark B again on reply to comments 95. Richie Allen was asked to go on the BBC for an interview. He responded yes, as long as he could film it as well. The BBC declined. Go figure. Yep. Yeah, Mark, they will. I mean, I asked... let me just find the article. I was asked to be on this well, I've been asked to be on several programmes. Let me just... Let's have a look here. Where was it? I can't find it now. Anyway, I can't find it. I'm not going to fuss around with articles. But basically, I was asked to go on this programme. It ended up being called Weighing Up the Enemy. And it was different to the other programmes I've been asked to be on, because normally I'm asked to be on like various conspiracy shows and things like that. I've been asked about half a dozen times. No, I haven't for a while now. I think word's got round that this nut ain't for cracking. But I said yes, sure. I was very diplomatic. I gave them a conditional acceptance response. I said, well, sure, but under certain conditions, I'd like to know what the working title is of this programme. I'd like to examine your proposal to the commissioning editor of the BBC. And I'd like to... Would you be willing to enter into negotiations leading to me being given some control of the programme? And they actually replied and said, no, sorry, they wouldn't be willing to do that. And I said, right, well, they'll go ahead without me then. Very often they don't even write back. I mean, I was asked to be on that ridiculous thing with... that Andrew Maxwell thing, the BBC Conspiracy Road Trip. It was either the UFO one or the 7/7 one. I was asked to be on that, and they didn't even write back. But yeah, Richie did the right thing there, and I'm not surprised the BBC declined. They declined because they know Richie has a large audience of his own, and they were going to do a hit piece on him. That's what they were going to do, and they wanted to be in full control of that. They wanted him to have no recourse at all, and so he put them in a position where they were forced to give him a recourse, and they said no. So well done, Richie Allen, for that. He did the right thing. And Gary says underneath, I remember him mentioning this. Very wise of him, of course, because he knows they will paint him as a conspiracy nutter when he's not. Yeah, exactly, Gary. And he's had. I think has enough sense to know this. I mean, I know there are people who think they can ride this dragon. I mean, and for example, a lot of the people who were on the Conspiracy Road Trip series, the follow-up one to the one Charlie Veitch was on, a lot of them. The ones who went on it, I spoke to them afterwards, and they bitterly regret it. And it's you can't ride this dragon. I mean, some people think, well, no, I know what to say to them. I know, I'll be able to deal with them. I know what to say to them. I'm confident that I can present myself in a way that cannot be misinterpreted or distorted. Don't be stupid. Don't get off your high horse. Don't drop the hubris. They are experts at screwing people over. They could take anything you say and make you say something else. I know that. I know they do. I mean, look at Chantal, the way they portrayed Chantal in that horrible Confessions of an Alien Abductee program. It's on Netflix now. Anyone who meets her and knows her knows she's nothing like that. yeah. She ended up essentially being an actress playing a fictional character in a drama, some kind of ridiculous musical farce. Yeah. Oh, Jam Noise says underneath, that says it all. What the actual fuck? They have to have total control if they want to fuck you up, huh? Lol. Yeah. And Jam Noise says they said the same to RDH. Yeah. And then Richard very rightly replied in the same vein, and of course they turned him down as he knew they would. And Gary says, "That's right, Jackie. RDH has mentioned this several times in his shows that he asked them for editorial control. Yeah, as I did. I said, I just said, would you be willing to enter into negotiations, leading to me being given some editorial control? And they said, no, that wouldn't be an option. So they want you to be the ingredients in the broth, but they are the cooks and they have the recipe book. And you are going to end up looking like a complete arsehole in front of the entire country. So don't do it, guys. Don't do it. If you're approached, tell them to get stuffed." And Gary says, "Yeah, while we are on the subject of the BBC, I want to say something about broadcast TV in the UK. Until I got back to the UK in summer 2023, it had been 15 years since I've seen a broadcast TV of any kind, including TV commercials. In Mexico, we watch only streaming dramas or movies that we choose to watch at the cinema. Therefore, if we are subject to any subversion, it's our own fault. Now that I'm here in the UK, I'm shocked at just how bad broadcast TV really is. The commercials are endless and I find them very stressful to watch. Then there are the brain-wasting game shows, which are nothing short of pointless. This is followed by BBC and ITV drama that, for the most part, has a very clear agenda which is subversively played out. Then, of course, there's the mainstream news. My parents are very active and young for their age, but whenever I catch them watching TV, I always seem to find them watching commercials, and they're glued to them. I had to tell them that I cannot be in the same room as that TV that is running commercials for so many obvious reasons. Yeah, Gary. I went to my brother's house, right, and whenever I go around there, he's always got the news on. He's always doom watching, and he has it on continuously. And it really shocked me. And I went to my daughter's house, and she had the TV on, and it was the soap operas or something. And I almost felt like this dark energy sucking me in from the corner of the room where the TV was. Oh, appalling stuff, mate. Yeah. And Mark B said on reply to question 95, excuse me. Alright, having not paid the licence fee for about a decade, I struggle to comprehend why people feel they must pay it. Just shut the door and don't speak to them if they come knocking. Yes. Exactly, Mark. Just say, go away. I'm not contracted to you. I'm not paying for rapists and paedophiles. Bugger off. That's all you got to say. And Hugo says underneath, but I want them to come and knock in. Oh, it's Hugo. I mean, you could have a smoke with them, you know. See, maybe you can convert them. You never know. Reply to comments 95. S. Brayman says, great episode. Thank you very much, S. Brayman. Much appreciated. Mark B says on reply to comments 95. Peter Higgs's date of passing was just a coincidence. Ha ha ha. My left nut needs a rest. Oh yes, your famous left nut. That's right. Yes. Yeah. Of course, the skeptics will say, well, you know, of course why shouldn't he die on that day? It just happens to happen that day, you know, and it's just incredible when you consider that an eclipse, an eclipse happens only once every 18 months, so you're looking at about 500 days. That's how often an eclipse happens. At the same time, you have CERN doing some special experiment on that same day, and the guy who first theorised the Higgs boson, he dies on that very day. Yeah. Same video, Mark B. Jam Noise. Sorry for your loss. Cats do indeed leave paw prints on your hearts. On your heart. Yeah. Oh yeah. Jackie lost her cat. Zuko. Yeah. Reply to comments 95. Gary Robinson says, hey Ben mate, in regards to Dune, I read the other day that a third movie is already in production. It's apparently going to be based on Dune Messiah. The second one is already available for streaming and download. Cheers. I see, right, so they're not going to make a trilogy of the original Dune novel. I might go and see that, just simply I haven't read the sequel. I've never read Herbert's sequel to the original book. I only read the original book. Must get on with the watch party, yes. Gary says here, I forgot to mention as well as having plenty of Star Wars style action and adventure. The sequel also focuses quite a lot on the shamanic side of the Fremen in terms of them using the blue liquid for visions. A very balanced movie, and it also had some extra Harkonnen related scenes that were not in the David Lynch version, such as the gladiatorial arena fight scenes. Oh right, that I suppose would be interesting, because there's a great scene where I think Fade Rother actually fights in the arena. Yeah, with he actually fights as a gladiator, and he wins and he becomes very popular. And they said, oh, he'd be welcome in the poorest house in the very poorest household on all of the planet, the Harkonnen planet. He'd be welcome because normally they hate the rich, but they'd be welcome. They welcome him because he's their hero and things like that. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. I remember that he had a poison. There's poison spikes are very popular in the Dune series. Everyone who wants to fight has a poison spike of some kind or another. Yes. Reply to comments 95, and here we go. Oh, sorry. Underneath I've got that's all the comments on that thread. Yeah. So I mean, maybe I'll watch it, Gary, and I probably will watch the third one if it's Dune Messiah, because I've not read the book. Reply to comments 95, Mark B says, come on Ben, we all know road mics are used by shills. Oh dearie me, you're channeling your inner Richard D. Hall there. He's a shill, I just know it because he's got a road mic. Oh my goodness me, that means Maya Tusi is a shill. Oh dear. I need to get some kind of proper microphone though set up here, because this is all right. It's not perfect though. I mean, the headset's all right. It means I can move my head around like that, and I don't have to keep. I haven't got this thing in front of me like that. You know, this sort of thing going like that. You know, I haven't got. Kev Baker used to, because Kev Baker had this small sort of quite thin face, and he'd be like, "Oh yes, indeed, it's great. It's woo-woo time now here on the Kev Baker show." Oh yes, and he'd be like that. So again, they have their disadvantages. Having a headset like this has its advantages. It means I'm sort of like just talking to you naturally. But having like a proper microphone is better sound quality. So I'll think about that. But yeah, my Tusi's a shill. Oh my god, yeah. Mark B says on reply to comments 95, no, Ben. Gary Newman was never a new romantic. As a Newman fan back in his genius breakthrough period, I can attest to this. He was new wave before coming a NIN tribute act. He was pretty dire after 1981. Oh right, I'm sorry if I misrepresented him. I always called him that just because he looked a bit like that in his photo. But you know, I mean, I'm not as big a fan of his music as you are. He's got some good songs, you know. Alright then, so we have a long comment from Gary here on reply to comments 95. Hey mate, when I was criticising people from the USA who claim they are Irish or Scottish, etc., I wasn't referring to the people with genuine roots in those countries. What has happened to me in the past is that I've met a relentless number of people who claim with absolute certainty that they are Irish or Scottish because their family left those countries in the 16 or 1700s. So even if those stories are true, it's been 300 or 400 years since their bloodline has had any connection to those countries whatsoever. However, because of these supposed historical links, they believe themselves to have unique character traits and physical differences from other people. For example, people from the USA claiming to be Irish or Scottish will always state they are tougher than people whose lineage can be traced back to England. It's absolute nonsense. Cheers. Gary, yeah, that is absolute nonsense, actually. But believe it or not, people in Ireland and Scotland believe they're tougher than people from England and Wales and places like that. I mean, it's a common kind of silliness that many people indulge in. Sometimes they don't mean it seriously. It's just done for banter. Other times they are genuinely bigoted. I don't know. I think that the problem does come from the fact that the Americans, apart from the Red Indians, Americans don't have that biospirit. I mean, a biospirit even after 500 years or 300. I mean, the first settlers arrived about 500 years ago now. They were mostly Spanish immigrants from Spain. And they arrived in the Americas in places like Puerto Rico and Mexico. And, some people in those areas still can trace their descendants back to those first settlers, Cortez and Pizarro and his team. And and they're very proud of it. Even people, some people say, well, one of my ancestor was on Columbus's voyage. Great, but I think the very fact that they have that sense of identity is proof positive they lack a biospirit to the land they are in. A biospirit actually takes, I think, maybe millennia to form, and that may be why they have the people who have this ancestry in other places do. Maybe the biospirit in the lands they come from are still calling to them, and they lack the biospirit that they have in North America. This is where the Amerindians. I refuse to use politically correct terms like Native American, but even though they are Native Americans, they don't have that problem. They genuinely have a biospiritual link to the land. Gary says here, I think there's also a pride element involved and a need to be different, both of which are satisfied by the claim of Irish or Scottish heritage. It could be just a fad or trend. I mean, I noticed there's lots of black people in Britain, including people I know, people who are born here, speak perfect English, and very often their fathers or mothers might have a Jamaican or Dominican accent or something, but they will dress in African clothing and have their hair done in traditional African styles. And I think again it is possibly for the same reason. They understand that there is that is where they belong. That is their biospiritual home. And even though they don't live there, they never lived there. None of their ancestors clearly come from there. You can tell by looking at them. Their racial features prove that. They still just, even though they have perfectly assimilated over several generations, they have not lost that connection to their ancestral land. As they say, they take the boy out of Wales. You can't take Wales out of the boy. You could say that for any country in the world. Gary says underneath here, also worth adding, I'm not referring to Italian Americans here, as they don't have this annoying habit, and it's generally obvious they are Italian. I'm trying to explain this without using words that YouTube is going to have a problem with regards to what we look like, if you know what I mean. Well, they sort of talk like this and they say, you fuck with me, you fuck with the family, man. Yeah. Also, people in Las Vegas will always tell you they have relatives in the UK because they're looking for a way to connect with you, so you will give them a tip. Of course. I think it took about 5 days in that city to realise that's what was bloody happening. It's a sort of thing. It's easy for a mistake for a newcomer to make, but that's one of the reasons I hate that place, because everything's so false there. Everything is so downright superficial and deceptive. It's all about bright lights and noises and false smiles and how much money can I get out of this person and stuff like that. It's horrible. It's a candy floss city. It's a bubblegum metropolis, and I loathe it. This is why I was really when I was there, I was just waiting for that. I said, for God's sake, let this conference start, please let the conference start. I mean, I'm glad I had that experience. I don't regret having the experience. Even unpleasant experiences are educational. And it was fun to hang out with Colin and Mark. That was fun, But they wanted to go a few days early to experience it, and I did get to go. If I'd gone like the day before, I'd never have gone to the Atomic Museum and things like that. And I'm glad I went to the Atomic Museum. I'm glad I went to the Sphere. So I don't want to be too hard on Las Vegas, because I did go to the Sphere and that was fantastic. And I went to the Atomic Museum. I went to the Janet Terminal. I wouldn't have been able to do that otherwise. So, but it's it's not the kind of place I felt at home. Gary says here, I've had taxi drivers in the past who told me they have family in the UK, and they follow up by giving me the name of the place that doesn't exist, such as Reddingshire, etc. Then they ask if I've been there, lol. Reddingshire, yeah. Hey, Wales, you come from Wales, do you? Wales is a real small place, isn't it? I mean, I know this guy from Wales called Jones. Is he related to you? Oh, Gary says underneath, I agree that your friend in Tennessee certainly has a claim on being Welsh since his parents were from Glamorgan. Yeah, he's not a friend, he's just someone on Facebook I bumped into, but he's very proud of his Welsh heritage, and his parents do come from, he is like second generation. He was apparently, did he say he was born in Tennessee, but his parents came from Swansea or somewhere like that, and they have Welsh accents, maybe they can speak Welsh, and they brought him up like with being proud of his roots, and he has like mugs which, proud to be Welsh and things like that on. Yeah. Neil Peel, Paranormal Peep Show. We recorded with Neil last night. There's a program coming with the Crafty Nihilist. Yeah. In my experience, some, but not all Americans, will tell you they have one globule of Scottish blood or English, etc., as if we're going to be impressed. I have about 9 pints of Celtic phlegm in me, and I don't impress myself. Yes, you were coughing and spluttering a bit, weren't you? Yes. And of course, it bugs me. Bring up the Celtic thing. It bugs me when people say, "Oh, well, these people are Celtic and these people are Anglo-Saxon." Bollocks! It's the same people. Racially, they are exactly the same people. That's just that's if you want to piss off the Scottish nationalist or something, just tell him, just remind him that there's no such thing as Celtic and Anglo-Saxon people these days. It's just it's all the same people. Gary Robinson says to Neil, not so long ago I discovered a Sicilian in my family tree. Oh my God, man. Oh God, how much do I owe you, Gary? How much do I owe you? Have you started walking around with sunglasses carrying a violin case? Okay, he discovered a Sicilian in my family tree. Although I've not been able to find out anything about him. I shall resist the urge to refer to myself as a Sicilian, though. I also found out that last year my wife, who is Mexican, has some Native American blood originating from the Sioux Indians. Oh, right, cool, right. Okay, Gary. Well, I hope I won't find my kneecap in your petrol tank at some point. So enjoy your Sicilian side, though. Well, I'm not surprised about your wife, actually, because the thing is, most people in Central and South America are sort of, I think the word they use is mestizo, so they're a kind of mixed race, native and Spanish conquistador. I mean, I think that's what it means, doesn't it? It's not a rude word, is it? Mestizo, is it? I better Google that before I get this video deleted. But it's. Mestizo is a group of Mexicans. It's a restaurant in London. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it says a mestizo is a person of mixed European and indigenous non-European ancestry, formerly in the Spanish Empire. There you go. Yeah, that's right. I thought so. Yeah, like a lot of people, I think most of them are like that in some way. And Neil says to Gary, the Sicilian connection probably is best left in the dark. You might be asked to perform family favours as such. Before you know it, you could have a horse's head in your bed. Yeah. Oh, same video, Gary. Indeed, I was referring to the bunch of 5 grapes in regards to the Kate Winslet regime show. Yeah, I've got to see that. That looks good. Funny enough, I was just like reviewing the last comments reply video and listening to our discussion about that. It looks bloody good. So I looked at the trailer and stuff, so I'll have to watch that. Yeah. David Yorkshire says, "Thanks for the plug, Ben." You're welcome, Dave. David's channel where he's talking about very interesting things. Yeah. Reply to comments 95. Coda. Has Liberace all croquet and is playing the Plinky Plinker on the Celestia Bowl, Cloudy in the Heavenly Bowl? In the Heavenly Bode. Oh, right, Cody's asking me if old Liberace's dead. Now, Alan is still alive, but he's been quiet lately, hasn't he? Yeah, I saw him the other week. Yeah, he's still alive. But, he just, for some reason, he hasn't been playing. I don't know why that is. Maybe he's got some earphones or something. Maybe he's got his ears, because he has like a little. It's not like an acoustic piano. It's an electric one. I don't think you could fit actually a proper big piano up in that room. They wouldn't go up the stairs, I don't think, to his flat. He's got like a little electric one. It sounds very realistic, but maybe he's got some earphones for it. I don't know. Right, 95. Coda, Deep Folly, the gigantic euphony. you Foley, all move it from the freezy most ticky tark load. Ah, yes, we've just, as he's just explained, that means Antarctica. Across cresty wavers was a deeply volcanage, all erupty, underwatery boat. They happen it all the tide load. Oh, right, so the gigantic UFO that moved from Antarctica across the sea was actually is a volcanic eruption underwater. It happens all the time. Right. That'll explain why no one said anything on St. Helena. Right, Jamnoy72 says on 95, love you, bro. We'll just have to disagree regarding Neil Sanders. Fair enough, fair enough, Jackie. Oh, but Neil actually brought this up again on the latest that ridiculous kind of what's it? That breakdown of the Manchester Arena thing, which is completely and utterly superficial and it doesn't explain anything, quite frankly. But he brought this up again, and he complained about how he was treated by the BBC as if he was going to expect any different. Why the hell? Now, Neil, if you're watching, what on earth were you thinking of going on the BBC to defend Richard? I mean, I don't know if there's no analogy I can even think of except maybe crawling into a lion's den, saying, "Do you mind not eating this guy?" They said, "We're eating him. We're having you too." If Neil, if you want to defend Richard, you're better off doing. Well, you're basically doing what you're doing now. You're making your own productions with Brent about Richard, trying to explain how he's not a bad guy and stuff like that. You should have done that to begin with and told Mariana Spring to get stuffed. Gary says, so you won't be attending an evening with Neil Sanders and friends, lol. Oh, yeah, it's although I don't know if you follow them on social media, but Brent and he went to Spring's book launch. Mariana Spring has a new book, which I suppose I'm going to have to bloody review at some point. So what's it called? Mariana Spring book. To me, she's like a little kid to me. I mean, she's younger than my daughter. I mean, My Journey Amongst the Trolls. Oh, blimey. It's this one here. Oh, please don't make me review this. Oh, I'm going to have to, aren't I? Oh, here we go. My Journey among the Trolls. My journey through conspiracy land. Yes, full of unbelievable nonsense, Ian Hislop. A tour de force, Jeremy Vine. An excellent piece of investigative journalism, Julia Ebner, Telegraph. A compelling guided tour of a dystopian underworld, John Norton. My name is Mariana Spring, and some of my trolls say they want to kill me. Oh, for goodness sake. Oh, I'm going to have to read this fucking thing, aren't I? Well, see, this is crazy. She's trolls. So she blocks them. But she blocked me on Twitter. All I did was leave her a slightly sarcastic reply. I've never abused her or threatened her in any way. Yeah. But Jamnoy says that's a hard pass for me. Yeah. Jamnoy says to Gary, his actions after his behaviour and his behaviour now is proof of his true intent with RDH, in my humble opinion. Well, Jackie, I think what he's doing now is, I think he's completely falsely trying to discredit Richard with Brent on a rational level. I don't think he means Richard any harm, in my view. As you know, we don't agree on that. But Gary says to Jam Noise, maybe I shouldn't judge him as I don't know him personally, but he did go on TV and slag RDH off big time and then went to social media trying to do a PR clean-up for himself. Well, not quite, Gary. He went on TV trying to defend Richard, and the BBC edited it to make him look like he was slagging Richard off. And then he raises his hand in shock and indignation and think, oh, how could the BBC do this to me? I really had no idea they would do this. And I'm like, fuck off, Neil. You knew they were going to do this to you. Oh, and Jamnoy says you can judge people by their actions. Whenever someone shows you who they are, believe them. I would never trust that guy. Well, Jamnoy, I disagree with you on his intentions, but no, I wouldn't trust him, because regardless of what he intends to do, the effects of his behaviour are that he goes onto mainstream media and assists with the hatchet job, whether he means to or not. And I just hope he's learned his lesson and he won't appear on any more BBC programmes. if he does, right, if Neil turns up on Panorama again, or another show with Barry on a Spring, I think we can safely say that you've proved your point. Because, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. If he's going to be, after what they did to him, and he goes back to them and allows himself to be misrepresented again, you've got to ask yourself, well, maybe that's his intention, and you were right all along. We'll see. Gary says on 95, Ben, mate, have you watched the new Joe Rogan episode with Graham Hancock and an archaeologist called Flint Dibble? It's only been up a few days and it's got over 3 million views already. Yes, funny enough, I've started watching it and I haven't finished. I never finished it. Let's just see if I can find it. Just a sec. Right, here we go. Here we go. Graham Hancock, Flint Dibble. There we go. Yeah, here we go. I'm how far I'm into it.
And so if we
1 hour 12 minutes in. Yeah, I'm 1 hour 12 into it. So that's. I've got to watch the rest of it now, haven't I? Yeah, I've got to watch the rest. Where are we now? Let's have a look. So, but I'll let you carry on. It's a really good discussion, but as you can imagine, Flint Dibble fights Graham every step of the way and disrespects him the entire way through the discussion. Right, so far it's been alright. 1 hour 12 minutes in, they've been reasonably civil to each other. At one point, he tells Graham that he's not been to Saxe Man because he's seen the photos of the place and he's more qualified to comment on the ancient stonework than Graham, despite the fact that Graham has visited the place a number of times. Right, I didn't know he'd never been to Saxe Man because, I think Graham's right. You need to do these things. This is why Graham learned. He learned to be a scuba diver at the age of 50. Because he said, well, if I'm going to talk about underwater monuments, I need to go and see them. So he went to this effort to learn how to dive underwater with a tank and things like that. At several points in the discussion, Graham shows him photos of potentially man-made stonework, including at the underwater steps at Yonaguni, Japan, and he just laughs and says they are naturally occurring. Yeah, I saw that bit. Yeah, Robert Schoch said that, I was disappointed in that. Yeah, but several other people like this. Wolf? What's his name? Another German guy said he thought they were natural. Dibble brushes off so many of Graham's findings as naturally occurring that there are now a number of hilarious Flint Dibble memes online, including one where he's looking at a DeWalt drill saying, "Doesn't look man-made to me, lol." Yeah, I think that fits in with the old idea of, I talked before about the coincidence theory and calling it out at a certain level, saying there has to be a statistical ceiling above which, you have to stop using that argument. And Flint Dibble, in my view, has gone way over where that ceiling should be reasonably set. But because the skeptics never set, they never have there's no cut-off point for the skeptics in terms of statistics like that. They can just use it. They can use it as a trump card whenever they like. And he carries on. This guy was obviously sent in to discredit Graham in the hope that people will turn away from his work. You have to wonder what Joe Rogan's role in this is. Cheers. Well, Joe, I don't imagine Joe sort of set this up to attack Graham, because Joe Rogan is proven himself to be a damn good radio show host. Let's face it, a very good show host who was willing to entertain all kinds of ideas. And he's very polite and respectful to his audience. I mean, with one exception being Ashton Forbes. I think he was very unfair to Ashton Forbes. And I'm really disappointed that Ashton was dropped from his show, because that would have been a bloody brilliant one. As it was, Ashton went on to other people's programs. I should actually ask him if he wants to be on mine. But apart from that, I think I respect the guy a lot. Now, Coda says on 95, Dork Rich Loader. Alright, that's Richard Dawkins, not Richard D. Hall. Latin Richus et Dorcas is a huge walking contradiction of his same selfie peepload. His same selfie peepload. Oh yes, he's lobbit muchly amountage of money trail to churchly projects. He's lobbed muchly amountage of money trail. He's lobbed much money to church project, amount of money to church projects. Yeah, Artage, Preservale of Building. Yes, he has. Choir Stallage and Gregory Chantage. And is that Gregorian chants? Oh yeah, Choir Stallage and Gregory chantage, all singly songs of the heavenly abode, etc. Yes, ecclesiastical music, of choirs and songs and things like that, with Gregorian chants, yeah, for the monks and that stuff. He's also matrimonial to Time Lady Romanage from Doctor Who. Yes, Romana. Yes, he's married to Romana. Layla Ward, her name is. Yes, and who often Tylode regenerate herself, who often times regenerates herself. All prove it the life after Croaky most. Yeah, I mean, of course, yes. Her character regenerated, that's right. So maybe, well, that's a life after death of sorts, isn't it? Oh, yes. Now there's a Thorcus for you. Yes, indeed. In fact, you made a point that several other people have about Richard Dawkins, and on podcast for the Lotus Eaters they brought this up. Dawkins in his beneficence decided to go on to he went on to a program, a news show, and he started saying things like, yes, I love the old churches, and the cathedrals are so beautiful, and they're so wonderfully built, and they're so magnificent, and and I love the music that comes out of the church is really wonderful. I love listening to church choirs and things like that, and he says, but you're against Christianity? Yes, I oppose religion and Christianity. It should be stamped out, and we should all be atheists. And then on the Lotus Series, they pointed out there's a contradiction here, Richard. You love some of the things that religion produces, but you think that religion itself should be eliminated, it should be removed. The very sentiment, the very mindset that inspired this creation, you're against. And you see, this is where, and Dawkins tried to sort of like wangle his way out of it, like he always does. But yeah, but I'm the same. As you know from my York video, the cathedrals are far more than what they appear to be anyway. But I like some church music. I like even some modern sort of happy clappy church music. I love Mike Stanley and Joe Boyce. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're these they do lovely sort of like songs about. Here we go. Let me just where they if I can find them. Let's have a look. Mike Stanley, Joe Boyce. Mike Stanley and Joe Boyce. Here we go, Boyce and Stanley, it's BBC Songs of Praise. I'm not going to play any of it, but they're really, really good. Magnificat by Joe Boyce. They do some lovely songs. Bread of Life, that's a beautiful song, actually, Bread of Life, with Joe Boyce. Remembering, Mike Stanley died. Oh dear, oh dear, he's dead. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, I really am. I met Mike Stanley, actually, 9 years ago, so he died 10 years ago. Has he gone? Oh dear. There he is.
Oh, I'm coming home to the promise of love.
Oh no. He's good. I met him. I met him on the pilgrimage to Lourdes, when I went on the pilgrimage to Lourdes. When I was trying to peace. Oh dear. He's gone. Yeah, he's. I heard he had cancer, but it must. Oh dear. That's very sad. I'm not that I got to know him very, very well and become close friends with him, but I got to. Obviously, I like the music he did with him and Joe Boyce did. I thought were very good. He's got some great songs. I bought their album. It's called "And Again I Say Rejoice." And I'm an agnostic, so that's sad. Yeah, but I mean, I like. Believe it or not, I like muezzin chanting. I like the Islamic chanting as well, which you get in when they're reciting the Quran and things like that. And some mosques have a beautiful architecture. Not the new ones they've built in bloody England, those horrible mega mosques they're building where they're bringing in hate preachers and the things like that. No, I don't like those. But I like the older ones. Like, I mean, the Sant Sophia thing it's been a cathedral and a mosque in Istanbul is incredible. And it's like far older than the medieval cathedrals. And it's magnificent. It's beautiful. So Richard Dawkins really you see Dawkins he couldn't really understand the fact that he contradicted himself. DJ B2 first. Oxford Graffiti 7. Gold tinfoil hat coming your way, mate. Yeah. And DJ B2 says on Oxford Graffiti 7. Ben, Mark covered the chakras in his talk tonight. I guess you had to have a nap. I'm sorry I fell asleep. I did, and it's no disrespect. And his Mark is certainly not boring. He's very interesting. I mean, he did that thing about Dostoevsky. I never really knew about that. It's incredible. But yeah, I was unfortunately very tired. I tend to get tired at the weekends, and I tend not to have much energy. And also, I do drink heavily at the weekends, I must admit. Yeah, but I can watch the recording, of course. It's still on their channel. Same video, DJ B2, lol. I'm glad you found that funny. 7, Oxford Graffiti 7. Israel Diego Rivera Genius 2, the real genius, says, are you Banksy, Ben? Has your secret been revealed? Oh, I am the Banksy of the written word. If Banksy had taken up writing instead of art, and instead of visual art, I would be him, yes. Andrew Munchkin says on Oxford Graffiti 7, are you showing off some of your latest tags, Ben? Show us your spray paint covered fingers. Oh, Andrew, I mean, sure, you're not the only one who sort of suggested that I'm actually doing this because I want to make these videos, but I swear to you I'm not. I'm really hopeless at drawing and writing and painting. I really am. I can write, I can paint pictures with words, but I can't do any more than that. I'm afraid. So I make videos about other people's art. That's what I do. You know, I'm the kind of Brian Sewell of non-conformist folk graffiti. You know, yes, this one is wonderful, and that one is wonderful. DJ B2 says on Oxford Graffiti 7, don't worry, Ben. Day drinking makes me nap too. Oh right, yeah. It's these things happen, don't they, DJ? Yeah. And Terminus says here on the same video, there is a prolific graffiti artist in my area spraying the word snap on various buildings and walls. You know, I noticed there's certain trends in graffiti, Terminus. Like there was a trend for a while where people would draw pictures of ducks in Oxford and paint the word quack. And these things come around again and again and again, and they're doing like the latest one is this spire one, keeps going everywhere. Yeah, but he carries on. I've noticed that almost without exception the defaced buildings and walls get demolished and redeveloped for blocks of flats, or for someone to build an extension a few months later. All right, Terminus. Well, I think you can consider that probably... oh, hang on, I've still got the display cap on. I think you can consider that, Terminus, maybe the equivalent of, like, stretching a new canvas. I hope Mr. Snap decides to maybe create a new portfolio. Not that I'm advocating breaking the law. The alien interview. We have the alien interview now. Us, Mr. Andrew Burlington, Victor, Nevada. And he says it's now all over the shop fronts in my hometown of Lewisham. It seems to be literally everywhere, even on new unfinished buildings, sadly, and the council no longer do anything to tackle it. One of my neighbours used to travel around the borough of Lewisham cleaning it off the walls and buildings on behalf of the council. It's just way too excessive now. Having said that, Lewisham is famous for having some amazing urban folk street art on buildings and under the railway bridges. Lewisham's most famous street artist, Lionel Stanhope, lives just around the corner from me, next door to the rapper Professor Green. God blimey, you live in the London equivalent of like Beverly Hills, Andrew. He's done some amazing paintings around the borough, mostly under railway bridges. About a year and a half ago, he painted a portrait of Ian Wright on the new football ground in his old school in Honor Oak. Right, Ian Wright, yeah, he's Ian Wright, obviously. I was thinking of the Welsh guy who played for Liverpool. No, the Ian Wright, it's a different one, yeah. In Honor Oak, where I went to nursery school in the late 1970s. Ian Wright paid for it to be built because he learned to play football there. I found out 3 years ago, on the day of the European Cup, that the word soccer originates from Lewisham, thanks to the poet Ernest Dowson, who's buried in my local cemetery. Oh, really? Blimey. And so, yeah, it's a bit of a... You seem like a bit of a famous local historian there, Andrew. It's not just alien interviews you research. But I didn't know that about... I didn't know that about Ian Wright, and I didn't know that about the various other people you mentioned, and the origins of the word soccer. That is new. That is news to me, my friend. News to me indeed. Same video. Martin Templeton says here on Oxford Graffiti 7. Always nice to see a new vid from you, because I don't comment much. Also, I don't know if you remember me, but we met once. Martin Templeton. Right, if I saw you, I may well, but you presumably we go to conferences and things like that. Oh, thanks, I'm glad you enjoy the videos. But Andrew, I'll go back to Andrew again. You do understand the difference between just the horrible illuminated letters that scrawled on places and rude words and stuff put on on shop, on shop shutters, and the proper stuff, like you say, the folk art, the urban folk street art. Which is really good. You understand the difference, yeah. Number 7. I like the Angry Beavers one. Angry Beavers. All right. Yeah, there's some funny ones, aren't there? So they go for different. Some of them get better than others, I think. Yeah. Hugo Runes says "Spliffs in the Tin" song. Yeah, spliffs in the tin, spliffs in the tin. I'm sure that'll be a big smash hit there. And Jam Noise is the musical one, so maybe she can compose something. Jam Noise says, "I've got spliffs in my tin. They say smoking weed is a sin." We got a rap here. Jam Noise says, "I got spliffs in my tin. They say smoking natural weed is a sin. Smoking green is a win. It's better than drinking and stinking. I'd rather be high and blinking. Spliffs got your brain thinking better than losing brain cells through drinking." Yay! Nice one, Jam Noise. And Hugo Rune says, "Thank you. I'm trying to put a tune to that." And Jam Noise says, "That is really good. That's a real good bit. That's a really good bit of of hip hop there. Brilliant stuff. Yeah. Well done, Jam Noise. Well done." For reply to comments 95, we have Hugo Rune, and he says here, this is a timestamp. American, not interested. Oh, dearie me! Honestly, you are such a I'm trying to think of a fictional character who's just anti-American and things. Oh, I remember. Yeah. Onward, my anti-Americanism, and you compare me to a Disney character. Nice one, Ben. Oh, well, I went to obviously, I met there were some people I met in Las Vegas who I wouldn't trust, and it took me about 4 days to realise most of the people I met were just there to screw you over, as Gary said. They see what money they can get out of you, and going up to you, taking photos and then acting like you asked them to, things like that. Oh, it's like Blackpool. But I as I've said at the time, I would never judge the entire country on that one city. Never. Right, Hugo Rune says 2 hours onwards. Here we go. It's a timestamp here. Justin Cox, at least your name's not Brian. Reply to comments 95. 2 hours onwards. Justin Cox commented on growing weed. "Piss off, Cox. Cannabis is my medication. I grow my own as I cannot afford to buy it on my pension. I also get pure THC CBD prescribed. Sativex." Right. And Coda says underneath, "Cox, as in Brial Coxloader." Oh, yeah, I thought that, Coda. "Careful now, our pridely dignifol has a worse reachy than the wordage ODO." Yes! As a worse reaction, yes, a worse reaction, yes. I do, it triggers me more than ODO does. It does, Coda, yes. Oxford Graffiti 7. Popcorn Boxing says, "Move away." Move away. Oh no, that was move away. Who's moving away? Oh, that's the move away. That was the. The diggers. When the diggers have this warning that says, "Move away, move away, move away." If they whatever they're doing, whenever they're moving, that automatically repeats itself. It's like the "Attention, this vehicle is reversing" thing. I noticed. Same video, Tessa 111. "These always bring such joy to see artists work out in the wild. Love it, Ben." Thanks, Tessa. It does to me. It brightens the place up. It really does. And I always say, when I see them, I say, "Thanks for brightening the place up." Coda says here on reply to comments 95. "Are my eardroves deceive it there? You actually believe the earthly abode is a rotating discus? Oh, folly, folly." What? No, your eardroves are deceiving you. Deep folly. I'm not a flat earther. Absolutely not. I might have said it as a joke. No, I'm not. New video, UFO Disclosure 2024, Kona Blue. Feta John says, Goldie hat by the mosts. Yes, mosties. Yes, you did, indeed. Feta John, well done. Fetler John. And Coda says, oh, Follock. I know what that means. Feta John says, oh, Follocky, dear Coda. Shiny silver on the Forlock's delight. Oh, my goodness me. We have a second Unwinese phone in our chat box here. Coda says, second silver load, candy hole. Gleam it there. It's not the winage, but it's the takely part load. Feta John, handy ho, all gleam it indeed. Crotty nollis, what a loady nobly nuncio. That's a dog Unwinese, that is. That's vulgar Unwinese. It's not educated, urbane, civilised Unwin, classic Unwinese. Fetler John says that, and Lodi nobly say, silly wonk foreshore. There's a slight difference there. Are there different levels of strength in Unwinese? Is it a dialect, which is spoken at different kind of levels of strength to make it different from English? Because I know some languages are like that. And there's like the dialect continuum and stuff like that. Because Fetler John and Coda have a slightly different dialect, I think. Same video. DJ BG says, no hat, deep folly. Oh dear, it's catching on. And Fetler John says, bronzy, irony of most coppery, deep joy. Yes, indeed. Same video, Coda. The music to my eardroves. Zibbity Chris Loaders. Cylindrical number through, if my load isn't all deceive it there. No, you're quite right. It is cylinder number 5 by Chris Zabriskie. It's the music I always use for my UFO disclosure videos. Yeah, it's Chris. He just simply has an attribution license. All you have to do is mention that it's his video music, which I do in the credits and or in the description boxes of all my videos. And I think it's just perfect. It sort of fits. Like I use several of his tunes actually for various different types of films that I do. DJ Bisu says Gakona, Kona Blue. Oh, I don't know what you mean. Oh, Gakona being a harp site. Oh, right. Gakona being a harp site. Right. I don't know if there's a connection there. I don't think there's a connection. Same video, DJ beat you. I remember downloading the MJ12 stuff on dial-up. Lol. Oh my goodness me, that's a long time ago. And Tessa says, I remember doing the same with John Greenwald's Foyer docus site as well as Whitley Strieber. Oh my goodness me. You've been in this a long time, you guys, haven't you? Because like I had dial-up. I remember having dial-up, and it was when I was in dial-up I first got on the forums in the late 90s. I started on like Conspiracy, Control-Alt-Delete. There was Dark Conspiracy. There was Conspiracy Central, and there was the Reptilian Resistance. There were several of these really good old forums, which you don't really get nowadays. And I used to like log in. You have to dial up and log in, yeah. And Mark B says, "Great days, not like now." Oh, well, it's not that bad, Mark. It's not that bad. There are some bright spikes in the gloom. DJ B2 says on Kona Blue on a 386. I don't know what that means. Oh, right, so Coda says on Kona Blue, finally, so Corbly Jeremy Corbell, all fallollop in your estimail, has he? Fallollop is a kind of popularised, a lot of people say fallollop. And Manile Murphy says fallollopers of the interlink, which is Unwinese for, something or other in the internet. It just fallollop means to go down. To fallollop in your estimail, has he? Well, he has a bit, Code. I'm finding him a little bit. Some of his latest stuff is a little bit shallow and sensationalised. Why such a long spacey tie load before the bulby light load? Or ring it there. I see. So you saw through him much earlier, did you, Coda? Better lately than arrive it than nevery. Yes, true. Better late than never. I mean, don't forget I did vote for Boris Johnson in 2019. So, we all make mistakes. But to be honest, I mean, yeah, I mean, he has. I mean, this is not to say that everything he produces is rubbish. I mean, excuse me. His Skinwalker video was quite good and things like that. So. I don't want to completely denounce everything he's ever done. I just thought, if he's gonna put videos of bunches of party balloons and say it's aliens, I find that just a little bit. I think he was a bit. Yeah, it was a little bit sensationalised, a little bit hasty there, shall we say. Kona Blue, DJ Bisu. Not commenting. It's just to put the matter up in the air, to encourage speculation. Oh, what matter? Oh, dearie me, say, hey, look over there. Where? He's one of those people, are you? And Mark B says, yes. And DJ B2... Alright, I think possibly DJ B2 was referring to what he's saying now. Oh, that's the end of an hour. We'll tackle that comment. We will tackle that comment in hour number 2. Okay, we're back for part 2 now. And, where were we? Yes. Now, DJ has made another comment, which I've got a feeling the one I've just read to is maybe a follow-up to it. And, it's possible for some reason they're in the wrong order. And DJ says here on Kona Blue, if it's DHS, that's Department of Homeland Security, that means agents getting stoned and feeding the public up. Kona for stoner, Blue for molestation. Just a random thought, probably horseshit, lol, my comment. And that's when he said underneath, not commenting, it's just to put the matter up to air, to encourage speculation. Well, funnily enough, you may have seen, I don't know if you saw Project Blue Book, it refers to the very real conspiracy that the CIA actually used LSD and other drugs to try and get confessions out of people. And indeed they used MK Ultra, actually involved the use of LSD and several other things. So it's just because, the name doesn't necessarily mean there's a hint there for what it actually refers to in terms of the purpose of the project, but still, it does make me think. Encouraging speculation is good, I think, there, DJ. Yeah, right. The Manchester Dogman is back. Great. And, pardon me, it says on Kona Blue, I'm in the curious position of being a fan of both yourself and Steve Mumbling. Oh my God! Manchester Dragon, how on earth do you negotiate that narrow ledge? I've followed your channels on this subject for many years now. I like to hear both sides of the argument in my personal quest for truth. Very wise, Manchester Dogman, very wise. I used to believe the whole ET government cover-up stuff, but I've evolved into a skeptic these days. Although I still have one foot in the rabbit hole. Steve is being proved right week after week. There is no tangible evidence. And he puts here a little kangaroo emoji, All right, well, you've got to go where the information takes you, and go the way you feel is right. Both the skeptics and believers make converts from the other side regularly. That's true. I don't agree with you about Steve, and I've made several videos trying to explain why I think he's wrong. But if you've heard both sides of the story and you still think Steve is right, so be it. And Mark B says underneath, good comment. I am the same and think the answer is nowhere, somewhere in the middle. I am on the conscious and UFO road at present time. All right. Well, somewhere in the middle. Either they exist or they don't. Either the government is covering it up or they don't. There's no real middle there. However, if you mean you're sort of like assessing the evidence for both sides, that's fair enough, I think, Mark. Yeah. And Coda says to Mark, agreeal, moboloader is correcas and all exposy bare bocus of the pedal piff loaders with no tangible substy. The bare bocus again, exposing the bare bocus, yes. It's a steam-rich dollop and payload. Oh yes. Can I say Steve? Can I imitate Steve's voice in on one knees? Let's just try it, shall we? It's a steam-rich dollop and a payload. Oh yes. Okay, in the same video here we have Alan McBride, right? Who says on Kona Blue, with the dangerous world geopolitical situation seemingly more dangerous by the day. Oh, there's a few tautologies in that sentence, but never mind. If, say, E.T. craft appeared and then landed, somehow transmitting a telepathic message to all of humanity. They are here to save us from a catastrophic global war. Would you welcome such an intervention from above? I reckon I'd take a chance, seeing as the maniac West is itching for international violence. Man, they're predictable. Therefore, we sadly need saving from the warmongering politicos who don't seem to understand that we don't want world war. Thanks for the excellent show, Ben. Homeland security? What about fatherland or motherland security? Oh, Alan, yeah, you're very welcome there. Well, basically, yeah, the ET craft, if ET aircraft appeared and landed and sent this message, would we welcome the intervention? This is kind of the plot of the three-body problem. I've got the book here, amazing. I didn't realise I had the book. I won't get it out now, it's under a pile. But I've just been watching the Netflix series. I did a review of it on HPANWO Voice. I didn't think it was that good, to be honest. I thought the first couple of episodes were good, then it lost it. Would I say to aliens who came along offering to lend a hand, yeah, come and help us out, would you? Come and help us out. Or would I say, no, out of principle I must refuse. You know, we humans have to dig ourselves out of our own situation. Remember the Prime Directive and stuff like that? Well, I think, you know, under those circumstances I say, yes, please. But on the other hand, it could be a trick. It could be a trick, you see. This is basically what's happening in Three-Body Problem. This is kind of the feeling you get. That's what's happening. The aliens are coming. And they're not going to turn up for several centuries, but they're on their way. That they are kind of, they're using this excuse, we're going to all save you from yourselves, we'll save you from the bad guys in politics, just trust us and be with us and we'll fight your corner. Is this, conquering armies have used, or conquering powers have tried this before, they've tried this trick before. The aforementioned Hernan Cortez, he teamed up with one of the enemies of Mexico, the Aztecs in Mexico, the Tlaxcalas. He teamed up with them, promising them to deliver them from the oppression of the Mexican Empire. And as a result, he then led both of them into the Spanish conquista. So there you go. You've got to be careful with that, don't you? But I'm glad you enjoyed the show. Thank you very much there, Alan. Much appreciated. Interesting question you brought up. Very interesting question indeed. And I don't know what the full answer is, to be honest. Mark says on Kona Blue, accidentally released, in my humble opinion. This is not possible given how controlled the mainstream media is. I think your opening words tell us why it's been let out. The whole disclosure thing is boring, so keep the public interested, then put this Kona Blue document out. Bingo, it works. Oh, Mark, so you're one of these people who believes, oh, it's all a big kind of, what's the word? It's all a big psyop, man. It's a psyop. It's a big psyop, man. Yeah, it's a psyop. Now, I've explained many times why I don't think this is the case. However, it is possible. It is possible this is some kind of trick. The whole thing is a trick. The whole thing is a scam. It can't be ruled out. The whole thing is a scam to lead us into the situation I've just been talking about when I answered Alan McBride's question about the alien invasion. So yeah, it's if this is some kind of confidence drink to lead us into, oh, there are aliens but they're evil and we need a world government to unite us against them kind of thing, then you'd be right. However, I don't think that's the case. I genuinely think this is a genuine push against the truth embargo, and I've explained my reasons for it. And if some backslapper wants to come along and say, "Oh, Ben, you've been taken down by shells, man, you're naive," I'll just live with that, or I might give him a whack or something. But you know, I'll live with that. But you see, this idea, it's not possible given how controlled the mainstream media is. Well, it is. You see, the mainstream media is not that controlled. Things do leak out. I think the whole... if you watch my Sarah Everard video, you'll know that I believe that the Sarah Everard thing happened almost by accident. It wasn't intended to happen that way. It was not intended to be a situation where she basically got killed. I think it was a procurement that went wrong. Too many people saw it happen. The whole operation was compromised, and so they got Cousins to take the rap, seeing as he was the procurer. Not everything that happens goes the way they want it. I mean, Richard has given examples about how things have gone wrong. Richard D. Hall, the ultimate backslapper in this country, certainly he's the biggest backslapper. He has given examples of how he thinks sometimes the agenda goes wrong. With the Joe Cox thing, he thinks they had to fall onto a plan B with Joe Cox because the security operation was compromised. The original plan was for Tommy Mayer to be killed. They actually had a guy in the churchyard with binoculars, and someone saw him. It looks like he was a spotter for some kind of sniper. They were going to take him out, and it didn't work, so he ends up getting arrested. They didn't mean to arrest him. It was like the arrest was kind of an accident. By the time it happened, it was too late. Yeah, so things do leak out, even in this tightly controlled mainstream media. Mark B said, the trouble is the pantomime of 2020 and the blatant lies the public were told means, like myself, many people do not trust anything that's put out now. He says that on Kona Blue. Well, you'd be right to. Yes, you would be right to. But you see, just because something like the Kona Blue documents somehow made it into the public domain does not mean that that was the original intention. Indeed, they were highly classified. Other things have happened of a similar nature. I think the New York Times article was based on evidence that was never supposed to have been released. The backslappers will say, but they meant to release it. They put it out there so people would think it was real. No. I've explained why many times why I think that was a genuine mistake. It was a genuine leak. And, other things can leak too, you see. Mark B says on Kona Blue, the only Kona Blue I know of is verifiable is the colour of the Ford Mustang. Oh, right, is it a colour, is it? So it's not all about, was it drugs and stuff down here? Someone's talking about drugs down here. It wasn't that. Oh, no, it was DHS. The DHS says DJ Bootu. Yeah, DJ Bootu said it was code for getting the public stoned. Yeah. But for you, it is the Ford Mustang. Oh, right, that's where it comes from. I don't know if there's a connection there. Anyway, Oxford Graffiti 7. We have Coda, who says, I have deep huffalo dowder for all that arty farthy piffaloed. All right. Undulate a symmetrical distorty rubbish from those scruffy most peopleodes. All a hedgeley backers and drag it there, deep folly. Drag through a hedge backwards. Oh dear, Coda, I'm sorry you don't like that kind of art. I mean, you should not. It varies in quality. And some of what I actually showed you was nothing more than scrawls on concrete. But the rest of it, look at that picture of Hannibal Lecter. That was like real oil painting quality. I know we have Helen Duncan, the most dangerous psychic in the world, and we have this is one of my most popular videos, and one that I get few comments on these days. But we have Ian Kerry, who said here, psychic medium tried as a witch for revealing World War II secrets, and it is a YouTube link. Let's have a look at it. Let's get rid of the. What's this? Oh, right, timeline. Oh, right. Oh, yeah, this is a documentary I've seen. I've liked it there, you can see. This has got, what's his name in? Baldrick. Tony Robinson. There he is. It's got.
How's the bee?
You see, there he is, Tony Robinson. This is very good. Yeah.
Possibly of
that's this archaeologist, or he took all
and the
this,
secrets.
That's this historian or someone he teams up with. Yeah, I've seen this. But thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed, Ian Kerry. Yeah, that was a very interesting documentary there, I thought. Very interesting indeed. And it was like I said, there's Tony Robinson and this other lady, this historian, and they debate over whether it's true or not. And he has a much more open-minded attitude than she does. But it's actually not the best one. There's another one I can't find anymore. It's gone. I mean, I've been trying to locate it. I asked Maggie, and Maggie seems to have a kind of. Maggie has she said she's got one somewhere. She got a copy of it somewhere on DVD or something. It had Elaine Smith, Scottish comedian, an actress, playing Helen, and it was a really, really good sort of docudrama. It was very good, and I can't find that anywhere. If anyone knows where that is, please tell me. It's called. It was called. I can't remember the Great Witch Trial or the Last Witch Trial or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. I can't. It was bloody good. Bloody good. Right, so thank you very much, Ian Kerry, for that comment on that video. Really, really a video I haven't seen. Nexus in W.H. Smith. This is an old video here. When was this? When was Nexus? When did I make this video? My God. Anyway, Zoella says here, what was sewer? She's asking me a question. What was my partner? She writes sewer stain. That's horrible. That is. No, I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to answer that. What's your nickname for you? I'm not going to answer that. And Zoella says, any news about Slaxer? I don't know. I haven't heard it. He hasn't uploaded for ages. Let's have a look at his channel. No, his last video was 8 months ago. I've not heard anything from him since. There's nothing on his. Yeah, no. 4 months ago, someone said have a peaceful Christmas. So he's gone quiet. Hope he's okay. Hope he's all right. And Zoella says here on Boudica, My Queen, Part 1. When push comes to shove, deep down, are you a pagan? Does the wheel of life turn in your Celtic heart? Does your blood run in the veins of the ancient trees in the ancient woods of the West? Yeah, Zoella, that sounds like a line from Tolkien, but yes, maybe I am a little bit. I suppose a pagan. Maybe we all are deep down, because we all used to be in this country. We all used to be pagans and druids and Wiccas and things like that. Yeah. Same video. Fetler-John says on Kona. No, that's not the same video. It's Kona Blue. Boudica My Queen is a very old one, but says got to 145 and my jaw is dropped. Weird Weekend North 2024. It's a new one. And once again, Coda gets the gold foily hat load. It's gold foily hat load, yes. Handy ho over with the gold foily hat load, yes. Welcome. That's 2 in the same period. That's great, is it? Yeah. And Weird Weekend North 2024. Jam Noise 72 says first legible comment. First non-Unwinese comment. Oh. Fetler John laughs. Gary Robinson says, just when I thought I might win the tinfoil hat. By the way, did you listen to yesterday's episode of the Richie Allen Show by any chance? If not, you really should. However, there's no way I can tell you about it here on YouTube, if you know what I mean. All right. So, well, of course, you can't discuss Richie on YouTube. His very name is Mud. And Coda says to Fetler John, my common trail is perfectly legible and crystal creel. Oh, yes. Jam Noise says to Coda, "Ke?" She acts like Manuel in Faulty Towers. Ke? Same video, Neil Peel. The weekend has now been immortalised thanks to Ben and his travels. Gary says on Weird Weekend North, evening mate, pride and dignity and to all. I've not had a chance to comment these last 2 weeks as I've been mad by. I've been mad by, but I've been watching. Cheers. Oh, thanks, Gary. Thanks, Gary. You know, only comment when you feel you can. Same video, Cosmic Oddities Workshop, who says here. That's a good name, Cosmic Oddities Workshop. Cheers, Ben. Going to watch this full, but before I do, I have a few questions for your next Q&A video. In other words, this one. What do you think of the Travis Walton case? Have you witnessed a UFO in the skies yourself? What is the topic or one person of interest to watch as of late in regards to UFOs, whistleblowers, recent news? 4. UFOs, are they interplanetary visitors, beings living here on Earth, multidimensional, or a mixture of something else entirely? Looking forward to your answers. Thanks, Lee. Cool, mate. Good questions. Hope you enjoy this new video. But what do I think of the Travis Walton case? I think it's good. I think it's a good case. I think it's legitimate. I mean, there's been lots of attempts to discredit it. These go right back to when it happened, and they're still going on, and they're still going on today. And the most recent one was that one of the guys on the one of the guys in the van apparently came forward and said it was all made up and something like that. And a lot of people, like the backslappers, of course, all trumpeted this. Other people as well were sucked into it. People I thought would know better, like Erica Lukes. That disappointed me. I thought she was more with it than to believe that. Another one I was disappointed with, Noria Hayakawa. Well, to be fair to him, he did change his mind and he deleted the article he wrote about it, but he still did believe it for a while. But yeah, Travis Walton is the real deal, I think. 2. Have you witnessed a UFO in the skies yourself? Well, Cosmic, I've witnessed about a dozen times. I've seen things in the skies I can't quite understand or can't recognise. Probably 3, maybe, I'd say defy explanation. There's 3 principal ones. I really think, well, what could those be? What could they be? And you know, they're sort of a bit like kind of, what's this? Oh, I know. In other words, I see them in a position in terms of range, in terms of clarity, in which I would recognise them if they were a recognisable object. There may be 3 cases like that. One of them was in 2008. Indeed, I covered this in a video. It was called, what's the video called? It's called I've Seen a UFO or something like that. I can't find it now. But it was in December 2008, so you can find it on my channel. There was also in 2007, I was with Tony Topping, and I was with him on the beach, and we were sky watching, and this strange light appeared. It was very odd. I was with Ellis Taylor, and this strange circling light in the distance appeared above the hills. I remember, yeah. 3. What one topic or one person of interest to watch as of late? What is the one topic in regards to UFOs, whistleblowers, recent news? Okay, one topic. Well, what's the one topic? I don't think there's one topic to watch. I mean, it's just the general UFO subject, I think. The person of interest to watch as of late, I don't know. I mean, there are some good people in there. Ross Coulthart, I'd say. Andrew Johnson, as much as I loathe the man himself, he is a good researcher. Ashton Forbes, I'd say his work on MH370. In regards to UFOs, whistleblowers, and recent news. As I said, in terms of media, I'd say Ross Coulthart. There's the Vetted podcast, one I've just started watching. I think that's good. That UFO podcast is very good. Joe Rogan, of course. There's no one answer to that one, I'm afraid, Cosmic. And number 4, UFOs. Are they interplanetary visitors, beings living here on Earth, multi-dimensional, or a mixture of all something else entirely? Looking forward to your answers. Well, I think they are a mixture. I think they are probably all 3 of those things, maybe more. It's possible that they are more than one phenomenon that we've generically categorised as the same thing. I think we are being visited by beings from other planets. They're interplanetary. They seem to have a physical presence. They are on Earth. They are already here on this planet with us. The idea that some people say, well, they originate here on Earth. I don't think they originate here on Earth. They don't fit in with what you might call the family tree of life, Darwin's evolution, things like that. They're clearly very different. Are they multidimensional? Yes, quite possibly they are multidimensional as well. I think they may be all those things. So the answer is yes, all 3. One thing I don't think there are time travelers, basically because time travel is actually not possible from the future to the past. You can travel into the future by going very fast. By the law of special relativity, you accelerate time from where you are, and time around you slows down. Going from the future backwards into the past cannot be done. It's because you're basically going somewhere that doesn't exist. What you can do is, and I think maybe some of the time-travelling aliens are this, you can simulate the experience of time travel by going multidimensional and visiting a universe which is exactly the same or similar to Earth's own past. That way you could go there, you could find a way back, you could go back, and you wouldn't have any of these time travel paradoxes, so your everything would still be the same the way you left it. Whereas in time travel literature, like in Back to the Future, the film, you'll find that Marty McFly, when he goes back in time, he moves forward, he goes back from the past to the future, and he goes back to a completely different world. He essentially goes to a parallel universe. because the universe he was born into no longer exists, or it has become inaccessible to him. If you remember the plot line, sorry for the spoiler, but his father is originally a man who's aspiring to be an author, but he lacks belief in himself. He lacks confidence. Then when he goes back in time and meets his own father as a young man, he persuades him to do something which makes him a much stronger, more confident individual, and therefore he has the ability to become a successful author. It's one of what you call the paradoxes of time travel. Hope you appreciate those answers, Cosmic. Feel free to ask some more questions. Gary says on Weird Weekend, one of my best mates used to live in supposedly a haunted house in Wimbledon back in the 2000s. He and his wife used to wake up with the feeling of someone's hands around their throats. God. At the time, we were in a band, and we were signed to BMG via Kick-In Records. So one weekend we had to go to Bristol to do some recording. So I ended up staying at his place so we could all leave together in the morning. I wasn't into any woo subjects back then, but I remember finding it very hard to get to sleep that night. But thankfully, nothing happened. Oh, I'm very glad you didn't find yourself going. Very glad, Gary. That's weird, isn't it? Andrew Munchkin says on Weird Weekend, first human posting. Hi Ben, hi bots. Nice try, Andrew, but you don't get a tinfoil hat. Same video, Gary Robinson. I made a Rich Planet channel a couple of years ago called at Rich Planet TV Classics. I mentioned to Rich that I was going to do this, and he thanked me. I've been focusing on the classic hidden history and UFO episodes just to be on the safe side. Well done, Gary. I've seen loads of them. There's about 4 or 5 of them now on YouTube. Well, I probably sub to yours, so I sub to them whenever I find them. And there were loads. There were actually even more on Odyssey. There's richplanet.tv.reuploader on Odyssey. He's putting them all on there. It's bloody good, isn't it? Yeah. Yes, Weird Weekend North. Tessa1111 says, did you interview employees at the Black Swan Hotel? Not this time, but I did last year. I think I might have mentioned it, but nothing spooky happened at all. And that's what very often happens, I think. Right, Gary Robinson has a timestamp on this Weird Weekend here. 55, it says, what's this here?
That venerates Robert Robinson.
There's Richard. It's surely Jeff. Oh yeah. It all gets a bit Phoenix Nights. Yeah. Oh, Richard. He's so funny. Richard. He really is. He's what would we do without him? He's great. Yeah. Yeah. Gary Robinson says, Ben, mate, I was going to say, please don't eat the lard. That can't be good for you, right? Does it not make you feel unwell to eat that much? Yes, it does. I actually felt I won't go into detail, but around 3 a.m. I had to visit the toilet, and let's just say I had pretty obvious proof that the lard had gone through me. It was not pleasant. There's basically, you could see the grease in the water of the toilet bowl. It's not good for you, and indeed, like I said earlier, it's not the kind of sport you could practice very regularly. So yeah, if I obviously doing this once a year is not going to hurt me, but if I did it every day, I'd be, as Alan Partridge says, I'd be dead. South Aaron Fletcher says, that man just ate 100 grams of saturated fat. Wow, more than that, mate. More than that. It was a bloody pound. I only use imperial measurements, being a Brexiteer. Weird Weekend North. Inshore Tech says, good to see you mentioning the Radicals' revolution that was brutally suppressed by the New World Order using muskets and swords of rich yeomanry against common people. Following the Napoleonic Wars, they deliberately don't teach you these events where the country is on the brink of massive change. What was that? Was that the... You know, I honestly can't remember what I was talking about there. Was that just after the Napoleonic Wars? Oh, I think I was talking about bloody... What was I talking about? Oh, the Paris Commune, that was it. Yeah, the Paris Commune. Yeah. Well, I think it was... Who knows what it turned out like? It was obviously this was pre the rise of Marxism, because at that time, you know, Karl was still flogging the Communist Manifesto on street corners, but yeah, I mean, it could have been something generally progressive. It could have been, for example, a progressive in the real sense, not the woke sense. It could have been like a cooperative economy, you know, post-Illuminati democracy, things like that. It could have been, yeah. But it was brutally suppressed. There's actually a little memorial to the communards in the communards, and not Jimmy Somerville's second band, in the Paris. I think it's one of the Paris cemeteries. Kona Blue Snarnock says, "I would not trust anything that comes from Arrow. Neither would I. They've proven themselves to be basically Project Blue Book Part 2 without J. Allen Hynek to pull them into line." Snarnock, I thought poutine. This is on Oxford Graffiti 7. I thought poutine is a Canadian food made with gravy, fries, and cheese. Ask Trevor next time you speak to him. Yeah, well, poutine. I know poutine is that because someone took the mickey out of George Bush Jr. once, because at the time he was president of the United States, the Canadian Prime Minister was called Jean Chrétien, and they tricked him into thinking that the Prime Minister was called Jean Poutine, which of course is a Canadian delicacy. And Bush just went along with it. He walked right into the trap, and being almost as thick as Joe Biden, he kept saying, "Yes, I look forward to meeting with Mr. Poutine at a certain point." And everyone was just laughing their heads off behind their back. Loving this, Ben, says Sugaroon. Please come and visit. I'm allowed to grow my own cannabis. Oh, cool. And Jam Noise says, gives him a shout. Yeah, we're going to go and see you, Hugo. I've got to email you about that, haven't I? Yeah, it's been out of my mind because I've been planning other trips, but yeah, we'll do that. Oxford Graffiti 7. Snarnock said, the graffiti you showed us in Oxford is very nice and tasteful. Do you think they are mostly done by art students in Oxford? Some of them are, yeah. There's some of them are art students. Some of them are just like enthusiastic amateurs. I can't, because I remember there was an article once about them. I can't remember all the details. And we got a long comment from Gary here on Weird Weekend North. Great story about your mate with the Spectrum and access to Usenet. Oh, he had a BBC. He was a posh kid. He had a BBC Model B. Oh, that's the BBC crowd, we called them. He had access to Usenet. I remember being fascinated and intimidated by computers back in the Spectrum days, as we didn't have a computer at home until the late 80s when we got an Amiga 500. Ooh, that's one of the late Commodores, I think, yeah. I actually got into making music thanks to the Amiga, as it was used by a lot of people in the early rave scene. I got involved in what was called the Amiga demo scene, where people across the UK and Europe would organise into groups with creative programmers, graphic designers and musicians, and we would make these things called demos, which were usually a presentation of vector graphics, cool illustrations and awesome music. And the idea was to push the Amiga to its limits. Oh, right. I don't think this wasn't the Commodore Amiga then. This was something a bit more sophisticated. My friend with a Spectrum, he actually managed to produce some pretty good music on his Spectrum, on his ZX Spectrum, actually. I had a Spectrum Plus, and he was always jealous. Although they're basically the same computer, but the Plus had a better keyboard. And he... he actually produced some music like with panning effects. It was stereo and he had panning effects. It was very good, and he did that on his Spectrum. Anyway, Gary continues. One of the teams called Lemon went on to form Rockstar Gaming. Anyway, one of the guys from my crew lived next door to Robbie Coltrane in a posh part of London. Me and my mate from Oxford, who was another Amiga musician, went to visit him, and he showed us his modem and how his Amiga was connected to bulletin boards, where he could download demos from other crews. It really blew my mind, but at the same time, it felt like expensive enterprise back then, and I knew there was no way that my parents would ever let me have a modem at that point. I remember that people in the Amiga demo crews would be very savvy in regards to hacking BT phone lines, and we would often have conference calls with 5 people patched in as one person. As one person would always have a list of secret BT codes that would allow us to do it. Good times. Yeah, Gary, with modern encryption, you couldn't get away with that. Oh, that's funny. In the analog days, yeah. In the mid-90s, we eventually got online from home, and as I started working as a web developer in London, I can remember the rush of dialing up to Freenet. This is something that people don't experience today, as we are permanently connected to the internet. Cheers. Oh, thank you for that story. Bit of Greg, you met Robbie Coltrane, who's a bit of a character, I gather. He's certainly a very good actor and performer. Yeah. Yes, and but it's sort of we're of a similar age, and it reminds me of my days when I never, the going online was never a big thing among casual gamers. We used to exchange material by tape because you loaded the computer from a tape recorder, and we used to sort of swap software and various things on tapes, including we had all the games and all the pokes you put in them to give you infinite lives and things like that. A poke would very often be just a single line of code with BASIC. BASIC was very easy to use. David Splendid Isolation says underneath, phone freaking. Yes, I got into that in the early 90s. Taking over BT trunk lines here and abroad with blue boxing and the 2600 Hz tone. Before that, I had an Atari ST, which I also used for mod making, like with the Amiga. Never got into MIDI though, as it was quite expensive. The ST became the industry standard for that in professional music making because it had inbuilt MIDI ports and extremely tight timing, rivaling anything around today. So many chart records that we listened to and loved from the late 80s and 90s were made on the Atari ST using Cubase. Before that, I had a ZX Spectrum from 1982 when it was first released. When I first got into computing, heady days indeed, wonderful days, thanks to God. Yeah, really, I would say that the music from that era is, if anything, I call it superior to what comes out today. I mean, technically, on the technical side of music making, nothing really has been added. I mean, all the necessary inventions were made, in the 80s. So it's kind of like, yeah, I kind of feel that the quality of music generally has gone downhill, or maybe it's just the age I am. We tend to idolise the music of our teens and childhood, I find people do. Right, Weird Weekend North, Rhiannon Raven, who was my companion for this particular trip. I think dripping is made from beef fat, whereas pork fat is lard. I think we consider the name of the conference is weird. Sorry. If we consider the name of the conference is Weird Weekend North, then technically we are retelling of a situation where a riot happened in the north of England over a few pounds of beef dripping. That is kind of weird, very northern, and so probably highly appropriate. Great reportage as ever, Ben. Looking forward to the next one. Thanks, Rhiannon. Yeah, I think it was Steve's story, even though it wasn't Fortean, was amusing, and I thought it was a good thing to tell. So yeah, good one. Steve's very interested in the history of the north of England, which is why he always watches Charlie Veitch. Well, Charlie's still amusing, I suppose. When he takes on the crackheads. Weird Weekend North, Dark Corners UK. The story about the speaker, Bob, finding a portal to a secret playground where he saw people from different time periods really resonated with me. As a child of the 80s, I used to make up similar fantasies about these extraordinary worlds filled with unique characters. This story really took me back to a simpler time in my life. Yeah, Dark Corners. I felt that way too. It was nostalgic and something I really identified with. Same video. Cole Costello says, as always, a thoroughly enjoyable reportage. Cheers, Ben. Thanks, Cole. Dr. Keith said on the same video, Ben, so your only audience member got up and left. Maybe she was on day release and had to catch the bus back to the care home. Glad you continued with your speech. What are you talking about? Yeah, I think everyone gets one of those. I've had a couple of walks. Oh, fuck off! Right, you twat. Go fuck yourself. I'm removing that. You're just being a dick, Dr. Keith. You get deleted. Gary Robinson, that was nice of the lady to stop what she was doing to help you pay with cash. Yeah, I was impressed by that. I keep hearing that a lot of businesses are not happy with cashless as the fees are way too high. I guess the fact they are ripping off businesses with huge fees is another reason why they're trying to force the cashless society on us. At the same time, I have got into the habit of using Google Pay on my phone. I'm not in favour of the cashless society, though, as you know. Yeah, I know, Gary, but there's nothing wrong with using Google Pay and things like that if you feel you don't want to carry large amounts of cash around with you. and you may be in a rush and there's a big queue and you want to pay out of convenience. The problem is when that becomes the only. I think you understand very well what would happen if that became the only means of payment. Tessa says, these are fun to watch. Feels like we're there. Oh, thanks, Tessa. You know, that's my intention. That's my intention. It really is. I'm glad it gave you a sense of presence. Jamnoy72 says, "Dear Lord, bro, I bet you both didn't have any issues shitting that evening." You put it a lot more bluntly than I did, Jamnoy, but we did. Yes, we did. Ethelreda says, "Haha, Ben, the lard. OMG, what a scream it was. I was certainly screaming at 3 in the morning, I'll tell you. I mustn't do that every day." Coda says on reply to comments 95, "Well there, Mr. Portage, you have an election upcommit. All checkly box present and correctors there. Yes, we had an election. That's right, I wrote an article on her HPANWO Voice about that. So scrobble up and standy candidate for it. Oh yes, the portly Benloader porticole part load partly partridge. All stand it for disclosing most. Nightly honorage for Professor Brile Coxloader. Kick in the New World Audit up the Bocus and a National Day of Air Punch It for D. Hawley Richloader. Punch the Oh yes, if I was Prime Minister, there would indeed be a disclosure, of course. Cox would not get a knighthood. He'd be offered a job in some kind of self-service restaurant, and kicking the New World Order up the Bocus, National Day of Punch the Air for Richard D. Hall. Yes, I would immediately institute that. Yes, the problem is I have way too much baggage ever to be a candidate in an election. I mean, I make Carl Benjamin look like John Major. Weird Weekend North, Israel Diego Rivera says, "Good effort at eating the lard, Ben. Hey, praise the Lord." Thanks. I did come second in a 2-horse race. Yeah. Same video. Helen Tucker says, "Perfect, a Ben adventure." I hope you liked it, Helen. I really do. Coda, Halloween 2020. Oh my goodness, he's going back in time now. Why the grabbers would you play it costload like Borreley John Soul when you all standy for the pridely dignified partly partridge? Well, it was just no. I know I've done my Boris Johnson impression. Basically, Coda is simply because it was Halloween. I thought David Icke would be better. Maria Wheatley Avery. This is a good one. I must apologise for the bit where the wind drowns out the mic. I should have edited that bit out, actually. I'm going to get Maria's book, The Secret History of Stonehenge, just as soon as I can, says user UT5. And I said, I'm not ready yet, but I flicked through it. It looks really good. So yeah, enjoy it. Weird Weekend North. Coda says, "Oh yes, the 40 Tyload lardage disappeary." Disappeary. Well, that was a great mistrial unsolved it there. The great Tyload, the large disappearance, yes. But confessy most portly Benloader, it was you responsible for all of this Tyload for eating of there, yes. And you would have gotten away, free garber handy ho, if it wasn't for you kiddly meddleloaders. Zoinks! Yes, Scooby and the team were waiting outside the door for me, yes. It was you who took the lard, yes. Kona Blue, Gary Robinson says, "Hi Ben, I'm just listening to Andrew Johnson's latest update in which he states that he is satisfied that the Foo Fighters phenomenon has now been explained. He then goes on to say it was caused by high levels of plasma from continuous wave radar signals. I was wondering if you'd heard about this, and if so, what's your thoughts on his explanation? Cheers." I saw Andrew's video, Gary. I saw Andrew's video about that. I haven't looked at the source material yet. However, I'm familiar with this explanation, and I I don't think it does. Now, what it does, it could well explain some of the Foo Fighter phenomenon, because it would explain the orbs. Now, one thing you've got to remember is that Foo Fighters were not just one thing. The Foo Fighters seen by the RAF crews were more than just like the balls of light that followed the plane along. That's one type. And indeed, that could be explained by that, because the thing is, electrical discharge does cause balls of light to form, and we don't know how it happens or why. It's one of the mysteries of electricity. But during thunderstorms, you get ball lightning, and there's been films of this. There's films of ball lightning. You can sometimes see them around. For example, you can see them around, for example, overhead power lines for trains on railways. You might see ball lightning hovering around between the power lines on the tracks and things like that. They can even be produced artificially. There's some people who've actually produced small ball lightning effects from their own machine, which has a Van de Graaff generator and things like that. Irina Scott has written a bit about this. So no one knows exactly how that happens, but so the idea is that because an aircraft is made of metal, it has a lot of ferrous metal in it, and it's flying along because of this this radar signal, because of these high energy radar signals, it creates these plasma balls which then accompany the aircraft. If that's all Foo Fighters were, you'd have your explanation, I think, pretty good one, almost certain. However, the crews also speak about structured craft. They speak about disc-shaped, square-shaped objects and things like that, all kinds of shapes. Now, that cannot be explained as electrical discharge effects. Although I have yet to see Andrew mentioned there's something he'd been looking into. I haven't looked at that yet, so if I'm proved, maybe there's an explanation for it all. We'll see. Joshua says, this is Epstein's List and Miami Aliens live stream. Of course, the latter was a distraction from the former, and only I can see it, man. Yeah, I'm so superior. But Joshua says, to think these famous people went to Epstein's Island speaks volumes. It does, doesn't it, Joshua? Yeah. And now I have Rin McInnes with Cat Black and versus Vorsh. It's an old one I did. I've done another one since then, as you all know. I've uploaded another interview with Rin. And Coda says, whoa, Mrs. Portage again. There's nothing a shame it, being a heterosexual-ode. No, of course not. Give straight pride, and having a deep joy with the female-ode of the human beal. Oh, of course not, yes. So don't keep your secret matrimony closely most and hide it there. Oh no, bring it out all male-gazing and appreciate that. Yes. Rin and I got married on this tiny iceberg floating off Iceland, so no one find out about it. Yeah. Crazy Lane. Coda's going through some of my old ones. Well, this is quite old, a few months. Crazy Plane Lady update. Coda says, so here's a questy-ho. 2 crazy plane ladies are give it a gurgly most. Give it a gurgly most. 2 crazy plane ladies are give it a gurgly most. One you can redeem it, and the other has to follow-up. And you are responsible for the decidee there. Give it a gurgly most. Does that mean they go... One has to redeem it and the other has to follow, and you are responsible for deciding there. How do you give deep thorkus in your brain bocker as to whom has the deep joy and whom croaky? Right, Coda. There's a certain gentleman whose face has been hidden for a long time, and the skinny back of his head is all we know of him. And I think he's the one to know, isn't he? He's the one to know. Yes. Where can he be, I wonder? Where can he be? Bill Ryan, where did you leave him? Yeah. Weird Weekend North. Ralph Winter says, nice one, Ben. Wonderful vid. Thank you, Ralph. Glad you liked it. Coda says, Crazy Plane Lady. That's the original Crazy Plane Lady video. Oh no, she's a generical Karen type emo all Huffalo Dowder with Managrail and Buckley Starloads. all screech and squeal it there. Yeah, Starbucks, you mean there? Yeah. Oh God, yeah. She's someone I couldn't get on with. She's a horrible person. She's one of these women who, I think, because she's one of these women who's got it into her head because she has conventional good looks. She's basically got a pass to behave like a bitch wherever she goes, and people will just put up with it. And that's very arrogant of her. And I don't think she does. It certainly doesn't work on me. Right, Peasmore 2 Harwell Laboratories Part 1 of 2. Oh, this is a great old one, this is. It was great fun making these videos. Digleda, that's a good name, Digleda said, apparently they manufacture grey aliens there and perform genetic experiments. Apparently, yes, they're called the, and Digleda says, got this from the Disclosure Project. Oh, right, right, Harwell, yes, is allegedly a place where there is an underground segment where they create what they call programmable generated life forms called PGLFs, and they are actually some form like the grey. They look a bit like the grey aliens, and you got it from the Disclosure Project. All right, it's actually the best source of this is the Basis Project. That's actually the original 2 or 3 Basis Project videos that Miles did. The interviews with Barry King and Lisa Williams. I think they're the best source of this. And Diegler adds here, run by the NSA. Oh, yeah, NSA, CIA, several other organisations as well, yeah. And now we have Rin McCullough's 9. Are UFOs real? And Dr. Keith says here, Dr. Keith, who says here, I'm glad you're doing your bit for caring the community, as Rim seems lovely. You piece of shit. Dr. Keith, you're getting blocked. Fuck you. It's your second shitty comment you've done. That's the second one you've done. Right, I've deleted the comment. Where's he? Where's Dr. How do I find him? I've deleted his comment now, so I can't find him. I'll find him later and block him. The moment he puts another comment up, I'll block him. How dare you? That's a horrible thing to say. It's a horrible, nasty, sarcastic, bitchy, bastardly thing to say. Rin is actually very bright. She's inquisitive, and she has like a kind of like very analytical mind, and she's very open-minded. Yes. Rin McCullough's 9, are UFOs real? And Coda says 4 again. Mrs. Portage again. Trovely, treasure it, and beauty most wife load you have there. Deep joy in the pentalobe there, I'm quite sure. Oh yes. Coda, were you spying on us during our honeymoon? Yes. When we left the ice floe, we went up and saw Santa Claus up in Lapland. Yes, we had a lovely honeymoon, Rin and I. Yes, and then she went back to her home, where in the United States, and I went back to Britain, and we agreed never to see each other again. Nothing as it seems, says Rin thinks it's the Ruskies. She should stop listening to John Oliver. Right, I can't watch that bloody John Oliver thing. I tried a couple of VPNs. I can't get it to work. It's annoying. But it's an episode where he talks about UFOs. It's probably floating around somewhere. Anyway, but yeah, But I'm guessing it probably he doesn't say much original. He probably won't say an awful lot that's original. And nothing. And Coda says underneath, nothing as it seems. Deep folly. Vaseline putloader is a dwarfage hobbit load, all Huffalo about not meeting the UFO height requirement there. I don't know what hobbits, something to do with dwarfs and hobbits. Huffalo means in a huff, not meeting the UFO height requirement. Oh right, yeah, I'll have to wait for the next edition of the Oxford Unwinnie's Dictionary, I think. And Rin McInnes again, and we have Jamnoy72, who says, I don't believe in UFOs anymore either. As soon as they want us to believe in something, that's when I know it's BS. I believe most of the things I've seen are probably government spy drones. No, I don't think so, Jamnoy, although, as I said to Rin, some of them could be. Because drones can look very weird sometimes. But, I mean, the drones don't obey the 5 observables. And as for the government wanting to believe in them, I don't think they do. I think, as we've seen from the repeal of the Schumer Amendment, there's a massive backlash against this. I mean, it's something we should have... I mean, this is something we really should have been prepared for. I mean, in 2017, when the New York Times article came out, I mean, did we really think there were no reactionaries within the system who would not try to put a stop to this? What the two Mikes did with their campaign, sponsored by by Lockheed Martin and other military-industrial complex companies is so predictable. It's something that I could almost written every word they said. As soon as Schumer's amendment came out, Gary Heseltine called that disclosure in all but name. As soon as the Schumer amendment came out, then they were going to make plans to scrap it or to make it just to neuter it so it could do no good, which they did. For me, that's as good as a confession. I mean, if there's nothing to see and it's just all nonsense, just smirk while it's being debated in Congress and then let it go into law and gather dust like so many other useless pieces of literature. Tessa says on the same video, the thought came to me, holograms used as data collectors, then disappearing to scare off military munitions. Wonder if some hidden science has done this successfully. Holograms used as data collectors, then disappear. Well, Tessa, if hidden science, according to some people, is decades, maybe even centuries ahead of what is publicly available, so technically, the things we see UFOs do with the 5 observables could be explained as man-made aircraft created by companies and governments on this planet by humans. Yes, that is technically possible. Theoretically, that could be an explanation. What it would be if, for example, these things had just appeared in the last couple of 20 or 30 years. But they haven't. They have an antiquity. I explained this to Rin. Their antiquity is so far off that it predates not only the invention of propeller-driven planes, it precedes the invention of the wheel. So no, that doesn't explain the whole phenomenon. It might explain some of it, though. Same video, Coda says, and bend it your eardroves to your matrimole there. Oh, I do. I wouldn't dare, 'cause she'll beat me with a frying pan if I don't, Coda. It was a funly tie-load while it lasted, but it's all followed and exposy most as a hoax loader. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't a hoax. It wasn't. I mean, maybe have you seen John Oliver? If you have, let me know where I can see it. It's Mundale phenomenal, all explainly from the earthly abode. Commiserails and shed a tear for the heartstrails are for it, oh yes. That's what skeptics say. Oh, I'm so sorry. Commiserations. What they're meaning is, ha ha ha, suck it up, you woo-woos. Ha, we told you. But no, I don't think that's the case. It hasn't fallopped and it's been exposed. But so Rin, we can kind of disagree. Well, not without her storming out the house, slamming the door, saying she never wants to see me again. Well, I say slam the door. It's it's the gate on our sort of Arctic. It's on our Arctic bunker. Hugo Rune says, alien abduction. Take me, please. I'm a cripple. Oh, Hugo's talking about maybe they could make him better. Well, Hugo, you never know. You might be nice. You might be lucky enough to encounter the aliens that do that. Because they could do that if they wanted to. And David Splendid Isolation says here on Rin McCullis, on the new Rin McCullis thing, I'm not sure Rin actually understands the unique properties of UAPs, even though you've tried to explain in detail. David, I think Rin is quite new to this subject, quite frankly. I do wonder if maybe John Oliver's video may be her principal exposure to this subject. In which case, she's got a lot to learn, quite frankly. Not that that's a criticism of her. I'm sure she's open-minded enough and intelligent enough to make the most of it. To make the most of the subject. Maybe she'll change her mind. We'll see. Now, this is Helen Duncan, Wartime Psychic Jail. This is the studio version of the technically poor reportage video I did. And someone called MTC6614 has left me a message, I think in Turkish. It looks like Turkish. I'm not going to try and pronounce this, but I'm now going to go to Google Translate and see what I come up with. So I'll just put this in here and detect language. Let's have a look. Turkish detected. English. I wish there were Turkish subtitles. Well, there should be, shouldn't there? I mean, MT, MT obviously. Oh, I'm not. I'm sorry. I've got to get the tag back. MT, MT. If you go to the settings, the little settings button on the it's on the bottom right of the screen. Click it. Go up to subtitles. It says subtitles. Look, I'll demonstrate this to you on this video. All right, here you go. Click that there. Go up to subtitles and closed captions, and then right, subtitles. Go to subtitles CC. I've got them off here because I don't need them. Go to subtitles CC. Where's the? Oh, where's the? It should say some point. Hang on. Right. Okay. I'll click that and go to here. It should English auto. Here we are. English auto generated. Right. Auto translate. Right. Go to auto translate. Oops. Okay. Let's go to auto translate. Are you watching? And then you scroll down until you get to Turkish. There should be Turkish is a widely spoken language. There should be. Here we go.
Sorry, let's get past this. We already talked about
There you go.
this wall, but I also wanted to bring up other kinds of underwater finds that have been found from the Stone Age.
There we are. Now that property should be available on my video too. It really should be. I'll just double check. It should be. Let's just go to here. Let's just have a look. Right. Let's try it on this video now, because this should be the same thing. We're going slightly over time, but so what? Okay. So I'll click that, and now go to... Oh, subtitles closed caption unavailable. What? Why? Alright, alright, MT, I'll look into that for you, alright? I'll look into that. And I'll try and find out why that is, alright? Because it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. Okay, that's the... Alright, on to hour number 3 now. I've got a little treat for you, actually. A little update on a previous video I did. Now, I don't know how many of you remember my bunker, my Doomsday Bunker videos. What was it? I'm sorry, I should have had this ready. But I did a video about Doomsday Bunkers, and it was very popular, and a lot of people liked it, and they thought it was really good, and I really enjoyed it as well. It was this one, and there you go. You can see it there. And I mentioned that there was a book which had a theme which was sort of like based on this kind of it was based on this kind of subject, and it's this one. This is the book I meant. It's called Radicalized, 4 novellas by Cory Doctorow, called by Kim Stanley Robinson, a writer I really like. Cory Doctorow is one of the most important science fiction writers, Kim Stanley Robinson, so it's interesting. Now, there are actually 4 separate stories in it. It's like an anthology of 4 novellas, and this is the one. This is the one to read. The Mask of the Red Death. Now, as probably most of you know, The Mask of the Red Death is it's a classic novel by Edgar Allan Poe, published in the 1840s sometime, I think. But the author has decided to name his I think it was 2019 this was written. He's decided to give it the same title because it has a very similar plot. If you're familiar with the original story by Poe, you'll probably guess what I'm talking about here and how it connects to bunkers. Because when I made that video, I hadn't actually made this. When I made that video, I hadn't actually read this yet. Now I've read it. It is about a group of people who some elitists who have a doomsday bunker, and when the shit hits the fan, they basically disappear into the bunker, and they leave the people that they use a very chilling word, actually, unnecessariat. They leave the unnecessariat to basically snuff it in the apocalypse. And they think that in their luxury bunker, they're all going to be safe. But as it turns out, they can't escape as easy as they thought they could. And what happens out there does affect them in there. And well, I suppose you could say it has a rather sad ending, but I found it quite amusing, to be honest. If you want to go, this is the web page. This is the author's web page. It's called craphound.com. craphound.com. Great name, isn't it? And this is the list of the author's titles. I think he's a bit of a lefty. Probably wouldn't agree with me on most things, but this is the Mask of the Red Death audio book here. I like the page there. And he talks about Edgar Allan Poe wrote The Mask of the Red Death in 1842 about a plutocrat who throws a masked ball in his walled abbey during the plague with the intention of cheating death. My novella is a tribute to Poe. It basically says the story of a plutocrat who brings his pals to a luxury bunker during civilizational collapse in the expectation of emerging once the others have rebuilt. Yeah. But the good news is, guys, you can get this as a free audio book. If you scroll down here, he says, here's the free Macmillan audio edition of The Mask of the Red Death. So you just go here. It's an hour and 50 minutes. It's not a very long novella. Like I say, it's about 40 pages or so. And you can listen to it for free. You can download it or play it for free. And I just wanted to mention that to you as a kind of an aside, because I think if you enjoyed my bunkers video about the elite bunkers in New Zealand and the gated communities, I think you might enjoy that novella. And I'm writing a review of it for HPANWO Voice, and if you want, we could have a discussion about it on a live stream. I just thought it was really, really good. Okay, right, we're back here with Rin McCarlis 9. Are UFOs real? And Zoella says here, not to be rude, but is she effing you fucking bitch. She's right. You are. Fuck you. How dare you? I'm blocking you, and I'm getting rid of this. Hang on. Okay, I'm just gonna I'm gonna first right click, find the user, and block the user before I delete the comment. That's disgusting. You should be ashamed of yourself. I've got a feeling you're one of the droid trolls. I think you are. Right. Home. Where's the community? Here we go. About. Report. How do I block user? Hide user from my channel. That's it. Okay. Right. I'm hiding. That's the same as blocking, I think. There you go. And now I'm deleting this disgusting comment you just made. Bah, bitch. You fucking bitch. How dare you? You wouldn't dare say that to her face, would you? Oh, dearie me. Okay, same video. Oh, sorry, it's Weird Weekend North now. Snarnock. I enjoyed the video, Ben. I'm glad the weather was pleasant during your trip and it did not rain. Looking forward to your next travelogue. Thanks very much, Snarnock. Thank you very much. The weather was fucking brilliant. It's fantastic weather. Yeah, next travelogue is coming up very soon. In fact, it's maybe my next video, actually. I might have a chance to do one this weekend. But after that, I'm going away again on another adventure. Yes. And Snarnock says here as well, would it have been easier if you had to eat a jar of goose fat instead of the lard? Snarnock, I hope you're not suggesting I try them both and see which one I like the most. Oh, God. I don't know. I don't care. As long as I don't have to do it for another year. Snarnock. Do you remember the curry monster from Red Dwarf? Oh, yeah, that's right. Yes. That's right. He says, "What would you?" I remember that. Was it Crichton says maybe we could soothe it with some Indian restaurant music. Lager, the only thing that can kill a vindaloo. When he throws a can of lager at it, and it catches it and blows it up. Lager. Alright, Snarnock says on the same video, your memories of computer games in the 1980s brought back memories. Playing Repton on the BBC microcomputers at school. Oh, right, Snarnock, you had them at school. Oh, right. Yeah, they did have some BBC computers at school. They had a computer, it was a Nimbus, it was called. And it was very posh because it didn't have a tape load. It didn't have a tape to load it, because some of the computers, like the Amstrads, they actually had a built-in tape recorder, so you didn't have to interface your standard tape recorder. Very sophisticated, yeah. But the Nimbus actually used floppy disks. I know these things were the latest gear. I'm telling you, computer technology advances so quickly that no sooner as a medium become like standard, within a couple of years, it's like It's like obsolete. But yes, I had BBC microcomputers at school, and like I said, some of the kids had them at home. As I said, it was a bit of a class divide, as I've explained. This kid Joseph was quite posh. I think his dad was his father was an accountant or something like that, and I remember his house was quite big, and he had this BBC Micro B, and it had like a modem, it was literally this thing. You literally shoved the handset into it. It was amazing to see, and you couldn't use you couldn't use the same phone line for making calls at the same time. Unlike now, when of course you just plug it all into your router. And he showed me these pages. They came up, and he said, "Oh," I said, "Joe, how did you do this?" And he says, "It's very simple. And you just you get onto Usenet. You can hook your computer onto this network." And I'm talking to someone in Austria. And there was like this, you could get text there, and you could also, there was a couple of pictures I remember, but there was no YouTube or anything like it. You could download short music. I think Usenet, I mean, Joe didn't do it, but he didn't show me how to do it. I don't think he ever did it, but you could download short video clips. You could download music. As Gary's just explained, you could use Usenet for sharing music and video files as well, even back as long ago as the early 80s. But it was nothing like today's World Wide Web, definitely. All right, so now we've got another old video now. We've got But You Do Nothing Posers, part 3 of 8. This is my comedy character, But You Do Nothing, who I thought was very amusing. Yeah, and he's a bit of a backslapper. He is kind of what I would call a backslapper. Although in those days I hadn't invented the term backslapper, but he is kind of what I would today call a backslapper. And Coda says here, to quote the wordage of a true hero, all worms of Wisdy and Insprail, with many loads dangly there, just like Mr. Treel. Regardebold the New World Audit, they don't like it up 'em, quote unquote. All right. They don't like it up 'em. Who said that? Was it Bill Cooper? But yeah, I don't know. Who's Mr. Treel? Mr. Treel. Crazy Plain Lady, and we have Joshua saying crazy. Oh, she bloody was, wasn't she? Well, I think she saw something that she shouldn't have, basically. Epstein's List and Miami Aliens live stream. Cancel culture's another mistake, very, says Joshua. I don't know what you mean by that, but yeah, as I said, I don't actually think that the Miami Aliens was there to distract from Epstein's List. As I explained to Rin, these sort of distraction techniques don't really work the way they wouldn't work the way someone would say they would. Okay, so that is YouTube done. So now I'm going to go. Before I go any further, I'm going to go into TikTok first, just to see if I've got any TikTok comments. Let's just have a look, because I didn't do them last week, but I should get email notifications when I do TikTok. Let's have a look. Let's just waiting for it to load. Make your day. Let's have a look. Any comments? Notifications? Anything like that? I should do another TikTok video, shouldn't I? Inbox. No, Dark Corners like my video. Thank you very much, Dark Corners. I've had a few subs. Some people liking it. They've got loads of views. I mean, like the latest one. No, the NDE Smoking Gun has had 248 views. That's a good video if you've not seen it. The NDE Smoking Gun. I was quite keen on that video. Right, so let's go to BitChute. Let us proceed to BitChute and see what I've got there. Okay, so let's have a look. I had a bit of a moan there because I had to log in, but I've logged in now. I mean, I don't know why it logged me out. But anyway, let's start, of course, with the channel page and just see what I have had in terms of comments on videos I've just uploaded. So I'll go to reply to comments 95 first of all and have a look around and see what I've got. I don't know if Hugo's put a long stream of separate comments like he did last time. I don't mind if he has, but we have here Wormspleen. Hello Wormspleen, how you doing? And he gives me a thumbs up. Thanks Wormspleen. Same to you, mate. Wormspleen's now following me on Rumble as well, which is nice.
How to kill all mosquitoes in the air.
It's Blake ads, sorry.
Area in 90 seconds. This simple but brilliant trick you can...
Sorry. Okay, right. We have now very Harry Gant. Oh, very. Thank you, Ben. All right, says. I've worked out what it means now, and he's explained. Very Harry Gant means very arrogant. Very Harry Gant says, "Thank you, Ben." At very Harry Gant means I am very arrogant. Yeah, I have a condition where I actually don't think that I exist. It's as if I am an NPC in an evil video game. I note that you almost died reading my 2 questions and became another Ripper victim. Oh, very arrogant. I think you got the Mandela effect there, mate. Adam Green at No More News states that the Jays are bringing their predictions in the Talmud, and Christianity is created primarily from that literature as controlled opposition. Right, this is what several theologians have suggested. They've said that somehow Christianity is actually a product of Judaism, which in a way it is, because it is the Messiah literally coming true. However, I don't think that's some kind of conspiracy by the Jays. I don't think it is. I think this is, it's not actually so much the Talmud. It's actually the Torah and the prophets, Isaiah and people like that. I think that's where it all comes from. The Talmud is different. The Talmud is like the Talmud is a dialogue of basically Jewish, of Jewish law and things like that. The Talmud has had a lot of bad press because people are saying, "Oh, it's all about how they're so bigoted against Gentiles." It's actually not. It's actually a dialogue in which they decide at the end that Gentiles should be treated with respect. There's an entire guy. This guy explains it online that I've been reading. I actually do bring this up in my Jay's video if you want to see that, which is very interesting, I think. So thanks very Harry Gand, much appreciated. Oxford Graffiti 7. And what should we have here? Discuss the video. Sweeps Fox. Hello, Sweeps. How are you? How are you? Thumbs up, chum. Yup, Ben, you gotta love it. Graffiti, clever historical adventurers doing their art from the shadows, inspired by getting the message out. Inspired by getting the message out to multitudes of those wanting an alternate and free view of artistic expression. More power to them. Let it ring. Thank you for your great effort here. Oh, thank you, Sweeps, and you're welcome. Yeah, I'm really, really glad that I go around preserving this material before it gets fades away or gets painted over. And now we have Kona Blue. What do we have here on Kona Blue? Just waiting for it to open. Right. No comments. Weird Weekend North. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, guys. Will it open? Oh, come on in, here we go. Discuss the video. No comments. And finally, with Rin Michaelis, are UFOs real? We've got no comments. Right, so now we go to the notifications list. So I'll scroll down. Okay, so this will allow me to see if I had any comments on videos that before the latest ones that I've uploaded. It'll save me just scrolling through every single one of my uploads on BitChute, which is impossible. It'll take me weeks. Scrolling down. Because luckily with Ray has done the right thing. He's created a notifications list where you can see very clearly where you have a comment on a particular video. Oh, Sweeps Fox has replied to my comments on his videos. Yeah, good old Sweeps. Yeah. Unfortunately, like some of these people I'm sub to, I can no longer watch not on YouTube. I can't watch some BitChute channels now just on a normal browser. I have to use a VPN. Like I mentioned, Hosseini Rising, and indeed. Well, we discussed that on Odyssey because he is on Odyssey and he's not blocked there. Because Odyssey's a bit more sensible. Odyssey doesn't put an office in the UK, which is a bit like. It reminds you of Parler. Do you remember Parler? Parler was the new free speech social media. Yes, It was bought up as an app on Amazon. I mean, talk about leaving the drawbridge down. I mean, what the fuck? Of course, Parler lasted all of like 3 months before. You know what Amazon did? Amazon actually cancelled it. Yes, all the SJWs was complaining. Of course, Amazon said, "Okay, we'll shut it down." There's no point having a free speech social media platform and putting it on bloody Amazon. Of course, they're going to shut it down. We have UFO disclosure 2 paradigms. This is my old. This is an old video here. I'll just wait for it to open slightly. That's good. You see, I wouldn't have spotted that. I would not have spotted that particular comment or where it was, unless I had this notifications list. You see, very clever. Let's see. UFO. This is my last one I did with Steve Bassett on UFO disclosure. Yeah. That was fun, that was actually. Yeah, that was fun having Steve again. Always good talking to Steve. I'll hopefully see Steve at Contact. That'll be great to see him again. I'll make sure I get him on video if I do. Oh, got loads of this. Oh, probably a lot of them are old comments, but let's have a look. What's this? Right, 3. Oh. This was 21 days ago. Where is it? Where's the new one then? Where's the new comment? A month ago, 21 days ago. Whoops. A month ago, 21 days ago. A month ago, 21 days ago. 21 days, a month, 21 days. Oh, I can't find the new comment. Who's it by? Oh, it's by me. Right. 2 weeks and 6 days. Well, that's about 21 days. What is it? Oh, yeah, Wormspleen just said. No, right. This is just a joke because Wormspleen said he asked me a question about Steve Bassett, and I replied with the reply to comments video, and Wormspleen replied, "Thank you for your generic comment. I will check it out in the upcoming reply to comments videos." And I took the mickey out of him by saying underneath, "Thank you for your highly original rejoinder to my generic comment. It will be answered on some video at some point in the coming decade." Right, so I think that is basically you BitChute done. So I'll just, before I forget, because I always do forget otherwise, I'll just mark as read. Mark as read. It takes a while to react. So while I'm doing that, I'll go over to Odyssey while it's reacting, and I will go to my notifications on Odyssey. And as you know, with Odyssey, it allows you to select whether you want to look at videos, all notifications, followers, comments, replies, or new content. So I'm going to choose comments here from this list, and I have Ellis Taylor, who says here, "Nice one, Ben. I'm sure many people who can't get to these conferences very much appreciate your vid." Thanks, Ellis. As you know, Tessa, if you watch all of this, you'll know that Tessa 111 was saying how this was like being there when they couldn't be there, which is exactly what I wanted. This is kind of what I'm looking for. It's the effect I'm after. It's kind of why I do these videos in the style that I do, I think. Right, so we have now with Rin Michaelis, "Are UFOs real?" And Tazi Zakura. I'm going I'm going the wrong way, aren't I? I need to sort of go in this direction. So I'll go to Sibient Dreams. Actually, I'll just click the actual videos, and I'll find all the comments on there. Sibient Dreams, sorry. Sibient Dreams. I'll just click that. I'll just click the video here, and we have here. Sibient Dreams says, right, here we go. Sibient Dreams, I'll start with that. We have here, Sibient Dreams says, "All animal mutilations are carried out by the military-industrial complex, not by extraterrestrials. All abductions to craft with a medical reproductive focus are carried out by the MI6, not by extraterrestrials. Most UFO sightings, especially more recent ones, are of back-engineered MI6 craft made on Earth, not extraterrestrial craft." Right, now I disagree with those things. Not to say that the MI6 is not responsible too, but that you say all of this, all of that are carried out by MIC. No, most UFO sightings. No, some. I say a minority of UFO sightings are back-engineered MIC craft. And the reason I say UFO sightings is because, again, it's partly their behaviour, the fact that they harass US Navy vessels and things like that, and partly their antiquity. And as I said to Rin, they don't just precede the invention of propeller-driven aeroplanes; they precede the invention of the wheel. So no, and I explained to Rin, and in fact, I explain in this video, I don't think they are. Now, animal mutilations are not carried out by the MIC, because now the MIC and indeed the government do use animals for experiments. Indeed, I remember as a hospital porter carrying sheep carcasses in big boxes from the lorry loading bays to the laboratories in my hospital on a sack truck. I remember that very well. But you see, if the government want to do experiments on animals, there are cheaper, easier and quicker and less obtrusive ways of doing it. For example, if you want to test animals for radiation, you can do this. You can do it without killing them, actually. You can take specimens from the throat, from the lungs, from the skin, hair, things like that, and test it. Urine, feces, stuff like that. If you do want to do an experiment which involves killing the animals, well, why go to the expense of sending a helicopter out in the middle of the night to some field in the middle of nowhere? Why don't you just buy animals? If you want to buy farm animals, you can do it very easily through the normal channels, get them from a farmer's market. It's much cheaper and simpler. So why do they do it? If the MIC is doing all animal mutilations, firstly, why do they do it? Why do they go to the middle of a field to do it? Secondly, you know, why? How do they do it? I mean, how do they do these particular injuries and these incisions and draining the blood and the kind of cuts they do and things like that? How do they do it? It doesn't make sense, Sybient. As for alien abduction, again, alien abduction it is very old. It goes back a long way. It goes back to prehistoric times, long before the MIC was even thought of. So no, I mean, funny enough, Stephen Greer would kind of half agree with you, because he believes if you have an abduction which is unpleasant, and the medical reproductive ones tend to be, that's stagecraft by the government, man. But if you have one where you meet the nice aliens, well, that's not. That's actually those are real aliens because they're nice, you see. Yeah. Okay, so we now have Tazi Zakura. Tazi Zakura must be a Japanese individual who says on Rin Michaelis, are UFOs real? That's it. I think he's answering the question in the title. No, they aren't, but just like Nessie, they're fun, so won't be going away. All right, they are fun, and they won't be going away. But they won't be going away because they are real, in my view, Tazi Zakura. And Sybient Dream says here, the fun will end... hang on, it's right. The fun will end when they launch a fake. Oh, yeah, I'll just put in a tight comment reply as well. When they launch a fake alien invasion, unless your idea of fun is being locked down. Well, Sybient, that actually is a possibility, as we've discussed. And indeed, when that happens, if that happens, it won't be fun. But the solution is not to deny the reality of the phenomenon itself. It is actually I believe the solution is to expose the agenda, I think. Now, Tazi Sakura replies to Sybient Dreams here with a YouTube clip, with a YouTube link. What's this?
What does your video sound like? Go to artlist.io.
Well, it's a bloody ad. Hang on.
And get the best music and sound effects for your video.
Spooky alien music. Oh, that's a clip from the Earth versus Flying Saucers, yeah. Very good, yes. I think Tazi Sakura is pulling your leg. And Sybient Dreams replies with a YouTube link. Let's have a look. See what it says. Right. What's this? Oh, this is the this is from the hearing, isn't it? The Subcommittee on National Security, the Border and Foreign Affairs. This is the famous hearing with David Grush and David Fravor and all the others. Yeah.
Program.
Yeah. Oh, this is. Remember, I covered this in detail, didn't I? Yeah.
It obviously moved.
Okay, it was not the same object though that you were.
Yes, so and Sybian said they didn't go to all this trouble unless 1, it's real, 2, they intend to fake it at some point, or 3, both. Well, in my view, Sybian, it's both. Right, is that all the comments? I think that's all the comments. I mentioned the Sybian Dreams as the last one. Let me refresh it because some of them I'll now have answered. So let's have a look here. I'll go to notifications again. And right, this is on J-word. Okay, it's my video. I've got an answer. I've got on my video J-word, which is banned from. I can't even say the whole title, even though it's just one word. It's perfectly acceptable to say, but the bloody. Here we go. We've got several comments here. Right. Let's have a look. So I'll start with this one 18 days ago. I've watched this video because you recommended it in my reply to comments 95. I also watched Video Banned, which followed it. I guess that one could have been called Video Banned 1, but you didn't know at the time it would be the start of a Video Banned series. Yes, Sybians, I did hope that would be the end of it, but it wasn't. I also watched a much older video on BitChute called H-Word Memorial Day. Yeah, that's right, yeah. As far as I can tell, that one isn't available on Odyssey. Yeah, I changed my mind a bit since I did that H-Word Memorial Day video, I must say. I've changed it slightly. My mind, not completely, but slightly. Sybian says, I thought H Memorial Day was really good. I also like the video J's. I don't agree with all your conclusions and think the massive over-representation of J people in petitions of power is more significant than you're willing to acknowledge. I think I gave the reason why I thought that they were overrepresented in certain places, and I think it's more to do with demographic difference than some conspiracy. He continues, nevertheless, this is an honest and sincere attempt to approach the issue in a reasoned and measured way. It's a pity YouTube are not impressed by that. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? I mean, that just goes to show what the algorithms are like. They obviously prefer a situation where everyone is just posturing and berating each other on the basis of unthinking dogma. Yes, basically, that's what they want, Sybian. Making this video must have been exhausting. I think you should be proud of it, and I don't blame you for referring it as a go-to resource rather than being sucked into explaining your position and revisiting the topic over and over again. This is one of the few areas where taking the middle path is the courageous thing to do because it invites flack from every direction, and you can guarantee being labelled as an anti-J from one side and a cuck from the other. Yeah, thanks, Sybian. Thank you very much. And I did think I knew it was very controversial as well from both sides, because there are people who believe literally, if you ask them, well, what is the New World Order? Who's behind it? They'll say J. In the same way that Tommy Robinson and Douglas Murray will say, well, Islam. You know, it's really weird that these people, the jihadis, both the counter jihadis and they have this, and the anti-Zionists, they both have really similar views on the nature of the New World Order, but they think it is their chosen boogeyman. It is literally the equivalent of what I believe is the Illuminati, and I think my assessment is correct, and I explain why. And Sybian says here, and in addendum to my earlier comment, this was much earlier actually. This was like the first one was 18 days ago. This is 5 days ago. I can't believe that was 13 days ago already. I came across this, which was also, according to the comments section, immediately banned from YouTube. So you were in good company. This is looking at it from a specifically J-word standpoint, but it's also an honest attempt to look at the recent conflict in a rational way. Google are actively preventing any sane thinking approach to this topic, and instead are encouraging knee-jerk sectarianism. They are standing in the way of people resolving their differences. They are doing what they so often accuse others of doing, inciting hatred. Correction brackets. It hasn't been taken down, but it's age verified. Got to keep the kids safe, right? You are. Well, what I'll do is I won't watch that now, but it's called Urgent Message. Oh, where is it? Here we go. Urgent Message for Jays Standing with Israel, and it's the one I'll watch later. It's by Carey Wedler, and yeah, these these videos do tend to just vanish from YouTube. It's really annoying. It's really annoying. Anyway, but thanks, Cybin. Thanks for those comments. Much appreciated. I'm glad you know where I'm coming from, and you're not going to attack me from either one side or the other like most people do. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, we have Kona Blue. Oh, this video's not even starting. I'll pick it up later. And now we have just 2 more on Kona Blue. I mean, I don't need to go to the actual video because I've got the list of comments. This is on UFO Disclosure Kona Blue. They both are. So what I'll do is I'll open that one video here. Right, let me just click pause. Of course, that video has to bloody play, doesn't it? Okay. Oh, got a lot of comment here from Cybient Dreams, who says here, very interesting and important development. Skeptics will point to Arrow's explanation as a reason for claiming the declassification has no particular significance and means nothing in terms of UFOs and ETs. They will, yes. In fact, Stephen Greenstreet, what did he say? Like I was talking about with Steve Bassett. Stephen Greenstreet actually wrote this ridiculous, nonsensical article with an outrageous title, R.I.P. UFOs. Goodness me, what a fool. What an absolute tool. And this is right. This is the Kona. He's just posted. This is interesting. History and origin of Kona Blue. I don't know if I actually covered this in the. Did I cover this in the last video? I should have done in the video about it. This is from Arrow. History and origin of Kona Blue. The All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office first learned of Kona Blue program from interviews conducted as part of its historical review. Multiple interviewees identified Kona Blue as a DHS-sensitive compartment established to protect... Oh, yes, I did... Yes, this is the introductory letter which I read. It was part of the download which I got. So, yeah, thanks very much. And then Cybient continues. They will also probably say that it was a case of Robert Bigelow trying to con his way into lucrative defence contracts and maybe tap into some existing defence secrets. Some sort of spat between Bigelow and the DIA will have caused the project to be disallowed or discontinued. Bigelow is known to be an abrasive and assertive individual, so this would make sense. It could be. I mean, I know it's a bit strange that when I found out he was part of ATIP stroke ORSAP, I was like gobsmacked. He'd obviously been doing this in secret. By contrast, you have concluded there is so much detail in this document that it corroborates the revelations of David Grush and others, that it must relate to concrete and real areas of research. I think this too. Yeah, it's too elaborate to be a psyop. The thing about psyops, they tend to be quite simple. Psyops don't need to do anything except convince. They need to be complicated enough to convince the people who need to be convinced. That's all they have to do. Any extra details, it's just window dressing, and it's extra resources, time, and money for no purpose. I don't buy the idea that there are factions in the Pentagon. I think the globalists at the Pentagon are in fact united, but they are trying to create the impression of an internal conflict. They're trying to set up 2 narratives which can seem equally plausible, and to extend this controversy into the general population. They've done this many times before with other issues. This declassification can be spun to support both skeptic and believer narratives for the reasons I've given above. Right, that would suggest that this then is intentional. Even if it involves real material, genuine material, as you've just said, we both agree that this is probably relates to some area of real research. It is a controlled revelation rather than an inadvertent leak and an attempt of damage control. That would fit if you are right about the fake alien invasion scenario, which you might be. I hope you're not. And as I've said before, we should be prepared for that. But at the same time, if you are wrong, and then there is actually a faction of anti-truth embargo individuals within government. We know there are some in Congress. Maybe there are some at the DoD as well. If that is the case, then it's an opportunity we can't afford to miss. taking the paradigm of prevention and being sort of like backslapping with the backslappers in a circle, it won't get us anywhere. This is why we have to tread a very narrow path between excessive cynicism and excessive naivety, I think, and I hope I can find that balance. The message to us as believers is, yes folks, you're right. We've been doing research on all the things you've been speculating about all these years. Yeah, that's right. Well, that is the message. Yeah, and do you believe there's a kind of phony bone of contention, as Richard D. Hall would say, set up between that and the skeptics? Because if in the fake alien invasion scenario, that would make sense. And Sybian says here, my interpretations of some of the terminology. Right, thank you. I wasn't quite sure exactly where we stood with those. Disruptive means economically disrupted. For example, zero-point energy would disrupt the energy sector by threatening the value of stocks, not just oil and gas, but also wind and solar. That has to be a massive understatement, Sybian, yes. 2. Consciousness studies relates to the brain division of DARPA, neurological warfare, and the prospect of causing mood changes and hallucinations from a distance. I see, because that would make, so it means that rather than how I interpret it, meaning research into the paranormal, remote viewing and things like that. Because it would be more plausible actually if what you say is true, because we know that DARPA has a history of this. As long ago as the 1950s, they were testing LSD on soldiers and things like that, and that's when MK Ultra sort of kicked off with similar experiments. Number 3, well-studied experimental location. That equals Skinwalker Ranch. Why did Bigelow buy it, and why has he sold it? Now, why has he now sold it? Right, yeah. I sort of guessed that actually. They meant Skinwalker Ranch. Bigelow bought it because he wanted to set up. He wanted to have the perfect place to do the experiment with NIDS, his organisation NIDS, the National Institute of Discovery Science. He bought it and sent basically Colm Kelleher and the others in there to do like a residential research into it. Why did he sell it? I'm not sure. I'm not sure why he sold it to Brandon Fugel. This was not revealed until later. Why did he sell it? I don't know. I know he's now got this thing called Bix, which is psychical research on the afterlife. Maybe he just wanted to focus on that. I don't know. Or maybe it was something to do with his fallout with the government over his involvement with ATIP and ORSAP. Maybe it's to do with that, because you said he had a bust up with them. Number 4, temporal translation, time travel, innit? It's time travel. I sort of thought it was something like that, yeah. 5, advanced theoretical and computational studies of multi-physics problems equals research into anti-gravity and or portals, right? That would make sense, wouldn't it? Thank you very much, Sybian, for that information. Now we're just going to do a quick refresh on the notifications for Odyssey and see what comes up. So I should have them all marked as read and therefore answered, and they are good. So now we move on to the one and only. Let me just double check Rumble. So mark all as read, delete all. I'll just delete all the comments. There we go. Delete all on BitChute. So now we go on to Rumble. What's on Rumble? Okay. I've got some new notifications already. Let's just go down, show more. 12 days, 18 days ago, 24 days ago. Unfortunately, these things aren't marked as read, which is annoying. 29 days ago, grand. Let's just see if so I just basically have to go to where I guessed I last stopped replying. Oh, where's this? 4 weeks ago. Why didn't I reply to these? Oh, shit. Okay, Sweeps Fox, 1 month ago. Bloody hell. Alright, this is Sweeps Fox on two paradigms. The X series, right. I should have replied to that. When was this? 3 weeks ago. Okay. Oh, I gave it a thumbs up. I was having a few problems, wasn't I? Okay. I think I replied to this. Please give views on expert opinion considering the fact you're acquainted with Michael Shrimpton and the attempted murders against Gordon Duff and his wife Carol. All right, yeah, I did cover this. These are Veterans Today. I think they edited Veterans Today, or Veterans Today, as you know, is very, very pro just ET paranormal UFO stuff. It's very woo-woo at Veterans Today. And then we have this Rumble link to the you-know-who, somebody is dead in a Cabal earthquake. I have covered that one, right you are. So now we have Grand Gem on UFO Disclosure 2024. Where do we go from here? And these are, for some reason I didn't reply to these. I don't know why. Grand Gem says here, Schumer, Gardner, Garland and Ray are all CIA since close to 100 years ago. The agency has been making huge bucks off ARVs, alien reproductive vehicles. They don't require oil, gas, oil, electric. Who buys them? MA, somebody for illegal transport of everything. That's been since Truman rescued the Soviet engineers, etc., from a death sentence. This is what it is. Breaking news. Rogue black budget shocking programs of 2024. There's a YouTube link here, which I will just copy here and paste. Oh, this is
don't
right.
need an expensive solicitor to write your will.
All right. Now this is
Protect your
just
loved ones and your assets with a professional.
this is just the one with Greer. Okay, we've seen
you want
this.
a way out? Come with us, and they do.
Yeah.
And the ones that aren't, most of them.
Yeah, I
end up
have dealt
dying
with this one.
in these experiments.
Yeah. Now, the Truman rescuing the Soviet engineers from a death sentence refers to Project Paperclip, of course, yes. So, yeah, but you're right about the rest of it, about the ARVs not requiring fuel of conventional types. And it was over 100 years ago. We could trace this back to Nikola Tesla, basically. So we're talking more like 100, 130, 140 years. Yeah. Sorry I didn't answer that question last time. Oh, you got another one on there, haven't you? You have a second one. And Grand Gem says here, you know, I think this might even cross the 3-hour barrier. So, oh, and of course I have to replace it with the tag. And of course I have to add random letters and numbers at the end, because Rumble won't let you use the same comment more than once on the entire platform. Why? How these guys get to vote in Congress never having been elected, I don't know. They are controlling Johnson now. Even his personality has changed. His religious core beliefs altered. Mental control. Even I can do that. Which Johnson do you mean? Sorry, I'm not that familiar with American politics. Who's getting a vote in Congress, never having been... Oh, I think you might mean whoever's controlling the two mics and their cohorts. Yeah, they've never been elected. They're private companies. They're not even part of the government in any way. They're civilians, and they are unelected, and they have no place dictating Congress. No, they don't. But who do you mean by Johnson? Not Boris Johnson. No, not... It doesn't matter. I mean, they're controlling an American politician. His personality's changed. His religious core beliefs altered. Mental control. Even I can do that. Oh, they do. They do very easily. They can control things like that. Yeah. Right. The X series. This was on Bassett 2 Paradigms, and I did reply to that one. Yes, I did reply to that. It's on there now. And then we have. Oh, saved by a J-word on Civil War. Let's have a look. Oh, I replied to that one. Okay, so I've just missed a few comments earlier. And we have another saved by a J-word on Video Ban 9, which I replied to. Right. Next one. Wormspleen started following me. Great. In Love 222 started following me. And Sweeps Fox on Oxford Graffiti. Right. I don't think I've replied to this one. Right. Here we go. And Sweeps is just... Sweeps. He's actually left the same... Yeah. He's left the same comment he did on YouTube here. So thanks very much, Sweeps. I won't bother putting in a tag to reply to you, but thank you very much for that. Chris Brown's Paxton started following me. The Tape Library replied... Oh, right. That's on another video, not this one. Sweeps Fox commented on Kona Blue. All right. Now, this is a new comment. He hasn't put this one on YouTube. And he says here, Thumbs up, Ben, but very doubtful that any formal disclosure will ever be forthcoming. If it happens in a furtive government partial way, as it has been happening in many venues, including congressional testimonies, it would telegraph a quick downslide into NWO tyranny and a world subject to martial law after one or numerous false flags. That is a risk, Sweeps. In fact, this is kind of what I was discussing with Sybient Dreams on Odyssey. If formal disclosure does appear, what sort will it be? Fake disclosure? I mean, I don't know if you've read my book, Roswell Rising, a novel of disclosure, but without adding any spoilers, that's how it begins in this book, exactly as you say. So yeah, that is something we've got to be wary of, I think. So yeah, I think that if, for example, there was some kind of inadvertent catastrophic disclosure, they may accelerate whatever agenda they have to wheel it in, which they're planning to do in a slow, sort of gentle way. You know, I mean, it's obvious this was going to happen. There's absolutely no way. Did anyone really seriously think there were no reactionaries within the system who wouldn't do something to try and put a stop to this? Did anyone seriously believe that? Oh, honestly, there's no way anyone could have been that naive. They were always going to do this. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you know, the repeal of the Schumer Amendment is as good as a confession. But yeah, I mean, whatever happens, I believe we should push for this. But whatever happens, the cornered rat might decide to strike out. We'll have to see. Thanks for that, Sweeps. Good one. In Our Dreams started following me. Pebbles831 started following me. JA 2012 did. And then finally we have the X series on with Rin Michaelis 9. Alright, we've got a new one from the X series. That's good. The X series is one of my most dedicated commenters on Rumble. So here we go. Right, what's happening now? Oh yes, right. I thought it was going to say to me, "You're posting comments too quickly. You need to slow down. You can't post one for 5 minutes." Oh, good. Right. X series, UFOs and psychics. Hashtag psychics trafficked by the cabal. Hello again, Ben. Please, could you please give us your professional opinion about the most popular whistleblower in the UFO community at the moment, namely Michael Herrera? Oh, right. I'm glad you think my opinion is professional. Funny, I think the Y-Files have just done something on him. Well, I listened to his speech at the Greer's event because Greer being a bit of a bitchy character, he decided to hold his own conference to clash with the hearing, and he had Michael Herrera on there. Michael Herrera is a chap who claimed to be involved in the crash retrieval when he was in the U.S. Marine Corps, and he was basically delivering things to some place I think it was in Philippines or somewhere, and this UFO appeared. I can't remember all the details. And to be honest, X-Heroes, I'm afraid I can't give you my opinion right now because it was a long time ago I actually watched that video and I've not looked into it since. I'm very sorry. What I do know is that UFO whistleblowers there's a lot of them around. Most of them, the majority, I don't think are very credible. This Jason Sands character seems... He's come out with the jump seats to Mars things, and I'm not saying these things are definitely untrue. You know, I tend to sort of roll my eyes whenever I hear these things. So, but I'll give Michael Herrera a fair hearing, okay? X series quotes. Okay, vetters, have you? Oh right, this is the vetted, right? Vetted podcast. You have spoken. The poll was pretty overwhelming to cover the Michael Herrera story. I will be doing a video on Michael Herrera and his fascinating US story. That's Patrick, yes. Patrick, a vetted podcast is very good. It's a new channel that's just come out, and I'm really enjoying it. I've subbed to him, and I think he's really cool. He did a really good interview with Ashton Forbes. He covers really good subjects. He says, he uploads every single day. I mean, he literally says, "I never miss a day." A very good, yeah, Patrick, really good guy. He goes, "Welcome, y'all." He's from somewhere in the deep south. He says, "Welcome, y'all." All right, here we go. Exclusive, Jonathan Weygant and Michael Herrera Marine Encounters. Right, Jonathan Weygant, I find very convincing. He appeared in Greer's original Greer's original witness testimony in the 90s. He sat there. He was very, very nervous. A young chap. looked very, very uncomfortable and told his story. He then went quiet for a long time, and it's understandable. He's recently done another interview. I was very impressed with Weygand, definitely. And we have Dr. Stephen Greer featuring Nick Begich, physics being attacked by the cabal. I'll just cut and paste. Now, I'm not going to cut and paste the one about vetted, because things I know about which video it is, but I will cut and paste this one, X series. Here we go.
Think you can't skip the pre-rinse with a dried-on brownie dish? Meet Finish Ultimate Plus.
Podcast
Engineered for tough
UFO
conditions,
live shows.
it breaks down stains, cuts through
has that only
grease,
just
and
happened?
boosts.
Overtime frame.
This is... Oh, right. I've not seen this one. That's a timestamp there. It's not me watching it. But I always do watch... I watch Martin... what's his name? What's his name's... his show. Martin Willis. I do watch Martin Willis. Martin Willis actually commented on one of Steve Mumbling's videos. But these two guys, Michael Herrera, Jonathan Weygand. I will have a watch of this, my friend. I'll have a watch of this. But I find Weygand very convincing, and I don't know enough about Michael Herrera to comment, I'm afraid. But thank you very much. Thanks for giving me the heads up on that. As for Vetted Podcast, I will definitely be taking a good look at that. So now we have Dr. Stephen Greer featuring Nick Begich. Psychics being attacked by the cabal part 2. Right, Nick Begich is a former politician from Alaska, I believe. And I can't remember the details of Begich, but he... No, right, yeah. Oh, this is... here we go. MUFON.
But in all of that...
MUFON LA, right. 6 years ago, this is.
I've determined that...
Well, this video looks a lot older.
It's probably had more done. Now, why is that important? How many of...
The 70s, I believe. And they were using
British psychic tried to kill twin daughters with kitchen knife in Copenhagen Hospital. Oh my God! Oh right, I'll have to look at that. I'll have to look into that, my friend. I'll have to look into that. And that's the end of that comment. Well, thank you very much, X Series. Much appreciated, mate. Much appreciated. Right, that is Rumble done, I believe. Let's just do a quick refresh on Rumble, because I'm getting so many alt tech comments. I need to refresh them. No more. That's it. That's Rumble done. All right. So that only remains that we go back to YouTube and see what comments have actually appeared while I have been making this particular video, and I've been going nearly 3 hours. It's going to be just it. I've got 5 minutes to go, literally, before the end. So let's go to YouTube and have a look. Let's just see. So I'll just refresh that page, and I'll see what comments people have left me. Right, let's have a look. Blah, blah. 29 minutes ago, Reason TV, Styx Hexenhammer. I was watching him on bloody Alt-Tech anyway. The Hill, Podcast of Lotus Eaters, Maya Tusi, Styx. Right, I've had no comments at all. None. So no one has commented while I've been making this video, so that's okay. So that's the end, basically. So I'll just I'll get rid of that now. I'll get rid of the timer. And yeah, I think that is the end of the video. Literally just inside 3 hours. Yeah, so whoa, that's been a good comments reply video. I'm glad to have got that out of the way. Once again, many thanks for all those comments, with the exception of the people I've had to block and whose horrible comments I've deleted. I really appreciate everything you've given to me and presented to me. Thank you very much. Obviously, it goes without saying, if you didn't leave these comments, this video would not happen. So that's obvious, so thank you very much for those. What's coming up? Well, I may have time to do a video this weekend, but I'm preparing for my talk in Mablethorpe, which I'm going to on Monday. If you want to get to the Mablethorpe group, go to HPANWO Voice. The details are on there. Just use the search function to find Mablethorpe, Lincolnshire, one of those places, or BBC, because I'm doing a talk about the BBC. So it'd be nice to see you there if you can get there. If not, I will. There will be a video of it, so you can watch the video. It's not the same as being there, though, is it? But it's like a football match, you know. You've got to be there. But as for my next video, I want to do the thunderstorm generator one, because that was a request. I might. I mean, if you want, if you enjoy the audio book, we could have a live stream about the Mask of the Red Death. because I think that'd be quite amusing, because it's an amusing story, even though it is pretty horrible. It's pretty horrible if you, from their point of view of the main characters, it's a pretty horrible ordeal they're in, but I can't help thinking they kind of asked for it. It's their own, it's basically their own fault for their own decisions. But either way, just see what you think when you've listened to the audiobook, because it's free to download. I mean, you could get the book. I will read the other 3 novellas as well and see what they're like. But I think it's very left-wing. I mean, Kim Stanley Robinson, he's a very left-wing guy. I mean, as much as I don't share his politics, I really do like him as an author, though. He's very, very good. But there'll be other videos coming soon. My family situation, as I said, I feel like I've lanced the boil, and what's done is done, and I feel better for it, actually, to get that out of the way. It's like when you lance a boil, and it really hurts when you do it, but of course you feel so much better afterwards. So yeah, well, thanks once again, all of you, for watching HPANWO TV. Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity. Stop the New World Order.
Conspiracies, government cover-ups, Earth mysteries, monster cryptids, psyops, saucers and black triangles, HPANWO.